Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are here for the Rugby World Cup 2023 competition. It has been over 1,000 days since we started the build up towards this competition, and now it is finally here, and 52 matches all taking place within 7 weeks. It's going to be an absolutely electrifying competition, and we will be covering it the whole way through. This game, the opener, France versus New Zealand. It doesn't get much bigger than that for an opening game of the Rugby World Cup. The hosts, France, up against the All Blacks, who have taken out 3 World Cups in the past, but it is the French who want to claim their first ever. Looking through at the starting lineup, first of all, for the home side, they will be as follows: Wardy, Julian Monchamp, and Yui Antonio as the front row. A formidable forward pack here for France in this game. Up against the All Blacks, Cameron Walkie at number 4, and Flamand will be 5. Cruz at 6. Charles Olivon at number 7, who has already got a World Cup under his belt. The same can be said about this man at 8, Gregory Aldrit. So he will certainly be one to watch out for. And him and La Rochelle recently having some pretty decent form, and I'm hoping he'll be able to continue that throughout this Rugby World Cup competition. And speaking of form, speaking of playing well, Antoine Dupont doesn't get much better than that for France, but they would have loved to have a different man at 10 for this. Being Intermac due to the injury meant that they had to make the change. So now instead it is Jalabert who gets a massive opportunity to prove himself at fly half alongside Dupont there at 9-10. Mofana in the midfield, that is due to the injury of Jonathan Dante. Both sides actually losing their inside centres for this match, whether that being Dante or Jordy Barrett. Galfiku on the outside at 13. Gabin Villiers out on the left. Damien Pinot out on the right, and Thomas Ramos at number 15. We have got quite a few people in the chat already. I do appreciate every single one of you for being here. We have got username Kerr is here at 10 a.m. in Alaska. French by 11 point. Opening oops, says Warren. And also we've got there Roof in the chat. Lord 7th, Gareth is here. And also anyone have any idea who the referee is? It is Jaco Piper for this exciting fixture. Hamish, please tell me you are wearing shorts. Not quite. I'm wearing pants, but they aren't the pants to match the suit. They are just track pants. You guys can't see down there, so I thought I would be better off going for the comfort over what is, I guess, a slightly too small suit for myself at the moment. Occur, nice to see you again. Enjoy the match, Japan. You get around, hey, says Ruth. And also we have got their morning mish from Gareth, but they have currently got the opening ceremony in France. We will be looking through now at the All Blacks side that will be taken to the field. It is Ethan de Groot at number 1, Cody Taylor at 2. Those were 2 men that were expected to be in the starting side, although a little bit of a change at number 3 due to the injury of Tyrell Lomax. It means that Nepo Lolala will be the man slotting in at tight head prop, and I believe, if I'm not wrong, it would almost be his first start of 2023 at tight head prop. I know that a lot of the games so far we have seen Tyrell Lomax, and then also I think they went with Tamaiti Williams in one of the other games, but I could be wrong there. Sam Whitelock and Scott Barrett, the Crusaders connection at 4 and 5, huge amount of experience between those two. Scott Barrett, he'll be very excited to be taking part in this World Cup, just needs to make sure that discipline is on point. Dalton Papali, big opportunity for him at number 6, replacing the injured Shannon Frizzell. Sam Kane, the captain, at number 7. And then at number 8, it is Ardie Savia. Now, I should mention, I said it in the preview as well, New Zealand have got 3 7s as their loose forward trio. So that means that they should be able to get quite a few turnovers in the breakdown. A few players jackling for possession. But that could also be a little bit of a downfall for the ABs. I'd like to think by now that Ardie Savia, I mean, a lot of people see him now as an 8 due to how recently, or how much he's been playing there recently, but still has those 7 skills, which may help the ABs here. Aaron Smith and Richie Moonga going to be the 9-10 combination, which was expected for the ABs, and I feel that may be where they have that little bit of an edge due to the fact that they have been playing together for quite a few games, whereas Antoine Dupont and Jalabert, only because of the Intermac injury, we are seeing that combination. Anton Leonard-Brown at number 12, that is due to the injury of Jordy Barrett. Rico Ioane at 13, Mark Talia out on the left, Will Jordan out on the right, and Bowden Barrett, a man who has had some World Cup brilliance in his past, whether that is, I mean, they were looking through our highlights earlier on at 2015. 2019, that man didn't do too badly either, but of course, that iconic try that he was able to get up against the Aussies a while ago. But looking through now at the chat, there are currently 19 messages, and we've got a £50 super sticker to start us off with this World Cup. Thank you very much, Kerr. Hugely appreciated. Yeah, I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting a donation this early on in the World Cup. What you bring via your commentary class just adds to what's going to be a best World Cup ever, says Warren. See, that's the thing. There are so many sides in this Rugby World Cup who have a brilliant chance, and I think that is what's going to make it so special. I'll be honest, the last Rugby World Cup was just before we had started our YouTube channel, and at that point, we hadn't actually... I probably watched about 20 of those games of that last Rugby World Cup. That was almost before I got back into my rugby watching days. So this feels awesome because we watched the certain games of that last World Cup. We're watching every game of this one, but this Kerr donation was the cheer transitioning hippo one. You guys will know that one as a throwback from Kerr. Of course, we have got there, I'm thinking you need a Kiwi Lads tie, says Kerr. Ooh, tell you what, it's an idea, isn't it? An All Blacks easy win, they're dangerous and the favourites in every Rugby World Cup, says the Knight. Although this one, the intrigue is they're playing in about 33-degree heat. And at the moment in New Zealand, we are sitting 7 degrees, just to put that into perspective. So it's certainly going to be hot, it's going to be humid, and if they can get through that initial heat wave, that is when we'll start to see the All Blacks maybe start to find their rhythm. The last time these two sides played, though, it was 40 points to 25 in favour of France. So they certainly cannot underestimate the French, definitely not in front of a home crowd for an opening game of the Rugby World Cup. All Blues, says Felipe, and they're going to be a cracker. Love to watch as a neutral. May the Bok take this World Cup once again, says Nelius. And of course, the Springboks, they have got their game just around the corner up against Scotland. We will be covering that one on the channel as well. And what is this nonsense of jacket and tie? Go back to wear New Zealand rugby jersey, show your patriotic support for the All Blacks, says Gordon McIntyre. Well, you will notice I've also got a little bit of blue on the tie, so a little bit of both ways in this regard. As you guys know, I'm impartial during the commentary, and that is the way it will be staying throughout the Rugby World Cup. Just over 1 hour till the kickoff, says Novmum. Yep, this game kicking off at 7:15 a.m. New Zealand time. So anyone who hasn't already, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We have got a majority of these Rugby World Cup games taking place on the channel, and these are the games that we've got to look forward to throughout this weekend. Of course, France versus New Zealand taking place in only around that hour's time. Italy versus Namibia, that will be the second game of Pool A taking place at 11 p.m. Tonight, Ireland versus Romania could be a relatively one-sided affair for that one. Australia versus Georgia, I feel like that's almost a little bit of a dark horse game of the weekend, because if Georgia are really able to push the Wallabies early, could see that one going down to the wire. England playing Argentina. That is the first game of Pool D, taking place at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. So my sleep schedule is pretty much out the window for this Rugby World Cup. Today, we went to bed at actually a decent hour, about maybe 9, 10 p.m. Woke up at 5. We're going to sleep at about 3 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, or this afternoon, I should say, seeing as it's 6 a.m. And we're doing that again about 2 or 3 days in a row. Japan versus Chile, that is taking place at 11 p.m. New Zealand time on Sunday night. Then it is South Africa versus Scotland at 3:45. That is a big game that I know a lot of people are looking forward to. And then Wales versus Fiji, 7 a.m. That is the last game of round 1 in the Rugby World Cup. And of course, throughout all this time, we will have the live commentaries. We'll have previews, lineup announcements, a few reviews along the way, and also a couple other exciting videos. But in the chat, we have got mate excited. ABs to win by 7. And amateur a class act, proper bloke, says Jeremy. Thank you very much, mate. Usually appreciate it. Joseph has said, well, Kerr, nice. And also, we have good to get your All Blacks jersey on, mate, says Sam Wilson. Well, fun fact, I actually do have one, but I didn't buy it. It was actually sent to me by one of you guys. I also have a Chile kit, which I think I'll have to wear during one of them. We've got another donation from Kerr. Kerr has just gone crazy on the button at this stage. We haven't even reached kickoff, Kerr. We're about an hour and a bit away. And you've already increased the budget of this World Cup by about 10 times what it was expected to be. And after their loss against the Boks, hope the ABs have their fire back. Greetings from South Africa, says Penelope Mason. Go France, go the Bok, says Albert there, and Bok says bystander. Well, this game, it's very intriguing because for the Springboks, whoever wins this game, right, they theoretically sit number 1 in this pool, and I believe that is where they will stay throughout the whole of Pool A's group stage. For the Springboks, a lot of people are expecting them to top their group, which does mean whoever loses this game more than likely will be going head-to-head with the Springboks. That is, of course, very dependent on how the results go in the next group. But for now, that is the way that a lot of people see this. So this is kind of like the eliminator in some regards, because both of these sides, they have the capabilities. Hello everyone. Well, my Wi-Fi just completely cut out just for now, so we are actually using my data on my phone, which I don't think there's a huge amount of, but we are back just for now while we wait for the Wi-Fi to reset itself. That's not what you want for an opening game of the Rugby World Cup. Unfortunately, the Wi-Fi could be a problem throughout this World Cup, but hopefully you guys are all still here. We are back just for now, and it should be fine throughout the rest of the World Cup overall. But yeah, I hope you guys are all doing well. Pretty much the worst thing that we can have 12 minutes in for the Wi-Fi to completely cut out. We have got the awesome stadium, perfect if you're a sniper, says Robert. And no way, Hamish is back hotter than ever, says Roof. I mean, I've turned red because I realised that if this happens again during the game, I am going to be very nervous. But hopefully that is not going to be the case. But ladies and gentlemen, we are around an hour away from the kickoff. The Wi-Fi is currently resetting itself. I just haven't says morning, my Wi-Fi completely cut out. So, yeah, that's not good, but it will be back throughout this Rugby World Cup, of course. And 25 points for bystander for New Zealand. Cruise around the South Island mostly, but a bit of the North Island, says Kerr there. And just been confirmed that he's had to pull out due to injury. Sam Cane is out. Tupavai starts, says Kyron. Well, that is a big bit of news for the ABs. I'm sure that wasn't in the initial plans, definitely with the fact that they did have the 3-7s. So if that is the case, that's going to be a little bit concerning for the All Blacks. A little bit of a late change, which I'm sure that they did not want to have to make in their game up against the French. I think we're back to wired connection now. So what we're going to do is we're going to disconnect this one. Should be fine. Theoretically, ladies and gentlemen, we have got our fingers and our toes crossed. Kerr's donations may have to go towards a new Wi-Fi router if it's going to keep on behaving like that. But what we were about to do before the Wi-Fi cut out, I can't even remember what we were talking about at that stage, but we will look through at the benches for this match. So it is going to be Pietro Malvaca as the number 16 for France, Gru at number 17, and El Ligri at number 18. Romain Taufifano, I'm expecting quite a big performance from him when he does come off the bench. Bodian at 20, then Luku at 21, Arthur Vincent at 22, and Melvin Jaminet, the replacement. They have got the option of playing him at either 10 or 15 for this game. Oh, very handy player to have for the New Zealanders. Samasoni Taukei'aho at number 16. Ofa Tuangapasi at 17, and Fletcher Null coming in as the number 18. So they do not have Tyrell Lomax, like I mentioned. Also no Tamaiti Williams in this match, which was a little bit of a surprise, seeing as he has got a huge bit of size about him. Tupavai at number 19, although someone did just say that Sam Cane perhaps may be taken out of the starting side, and instead it could end up being that man Tupavai maybe starting at number 6. David Arveli, Finley Christie, and Lester Whaiananuku as the back replacements, and of course Luke Jacobson there at number 20, who does offer all 3 positions, so I'm sure he'll be a very handy one as well. But those are the All Blacks and the French reserves. I think the French have cyber attacked New Zealand commentary, and not before time, says Kyron. And also we have got their fine, says Paul, and Brody Retallick has been moved to the bench, says Kyron. Has he? I feel like Brody Retallick wasn't going to be back to the quarterfinals, so now I'm slightly concerned that you may just be lying. Because more than likely, I would think if there was the injury of Sam Cane, we would more than likely see Josh Lord go off the bench, seeing as he is one of those locking covers, rather than a man who's supposed to be injured for another 3 or 4 weeks. You know, so it might be a bit more of a wait and see than we first anticipated. I'll say it again, Box don't care who they get in the quarterfinals, says Albert. They may not care, but the information was, as I said, which was the fact that whoever wins this game will more than likely not have to face the Springboks in the quarterfinals. Look at there, do not panic, guys. We will take this out easy. And this is going to be a good match, says Connor Crowley. Just like all of the matches that we have got of this weekend, there are a lot of little head-to-heads that we haven't got to see for quite some time. Jacqueline has said, good luck, All Blacks. Love from South Africa, says Jacqueline. And also Type 5 Rugby, says Kyron. And also we have got there Hamish Bro, if you're wearing All Blacks jersey for supporting here, I like it. That okay, you're looking smart in the suit, says Vishal. So yeah, currently we've still got the suit and tie on. I know a lot of people seem to want me to wear the AB's kit, but we've got to stay impartial on these streams, at least at this stage of the competition anyway. We are a part of Pool A in this comp, alongside France, also in there, Italy, Uruguay, and Namibia. Now, Uruguay do have themselves a bye for this first round. It is going to be the Italians taking on Namibia. That is taking place at 11 p.m. tonight, New Zealand time. South Africa, Ireland, Scotland, Romania, and Tonga, they are a part of Pool B, and that is certainly an exciting pool, because I'd say that there are 4 sides in that group that can cause upsets or just win games. In the case of the Boks and the Irish, both on pretty decent percentages for their last 10 or so games. Then for Pool C, it is Australia, Wales, Fiji, Georgia, and Portugal. Pool D, another one that could end up being very close, England, Argentina, Japan, Samoa, and Chile. So we are getting slowly closer to the build-up of this Rugby World Cup, ladies and gentlemen. Still around about 50 minutes away from a box supporter. I'm going with the All Blacks in this opener, says Africa Unite. And I hope Ireland versus New Zealand in the quarterfinals, says Luke Conway. And we have got there in the chat as well, what's the prediction, says username. So my prediction before this game started, and actually before the lineups were even announced, was going to be 25 points to 22 in favour of the All Blacks. We have got there, made a lot of noise from some given misinformation, says Matu. There is normally just before a World Cup, though, in terms of, or even just before a rugby match, Twitter is about as reliable as my Wi-Fi. So sometimes you have to take the good with the bad, and we have to wait to see whether or not the information is true or not. May rugby win no matter which team, says Lewis. And also we have got there, Sam Cane is to be replaced with Andre Pollard. Rassi is a genius. Up to his tricks again, says Kyron. And also we have got there, there's no way France is losing this game at home opening night, says Albert. But that's the thing. Sometimes when you think about that scenario, right, being the home side in a World Cup that pretty much your whole home country expect you to win, that's a lot of pressure. You add the 33-degree heat. You add the fact that you're playing the All Blacks, who already have 3 Rugby World Cups in their cabinet. It does add all these extra layers. The last time that they played the All Blacks, though, was in 2021, and they were able to get themselves the victory, 40 points to 25. And bold prediction, Amish, I reckon France will clinch it, says username. I think the beauty of this game is both sides have a very good chance of walking away with the victory. I believe it is the closest in terms of the betting odds of Pool D by quite a margin for Pool A. Pool D with Argentina, England might be just that little bit closer in the split, but this game I would say will be closer on the scoreboard. New Zealand all the way. Romano Peterson from Newport, South Africa. Says Romano, so welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing very well. Justin Marshall said they want to play Ireland in the quarterfinals, says Mornay. And also 30 points to 15 in favour of the All Blacks. But they are letting off fireworks at the moment at Stade de France. It's going to be absolutely awesome to see this side at home in their element. The one thing that they will be slightly disappointed about, of course, is the fact that they do not have Roman Intermac. They do not have Jonathan Dante. Those are two players that I'm sure they would have loved to have for this opening game of the Rugby World Cup. And it's a little bit unconfirmed about when Jonathan Dante will return, which could be a little bit similar to be said about Tyrell Lomax for the ABs. Also, no Geordie Barrett. We have got there, do you think the stadium will be full of people since it's the opener? Absolutely. I think most of these games of the Rugby World Cup, no matter who is playing, there will still be plenty of people in these stands, which is exactly what you want. At the end of the day, the atmosphere that they are able to create at these grounds. I know that Norm Maxwell, he sent us a video of Stade de France, when they did have the All Blacks versus France. That game in 2021, they had the light show going, they had the atmosphere building, the crowd were singing, and we had opening ceremony full of free Mason imagery and structures, says Powerbite. I think it's pretty much just a homage to France in a way, with the Eiffel Tower in the middle, a whole heap of French people in attendance. That man is kissing the camera. And Hamish, bro, I don't prediction here, but the match will be very interesting here, beginning of the Rugby World Cup, says Michelle, absolutely. And I feel like whoever wins this game, like I mentioned, they will qualify first in their pool, and then Namibia play up against the Italians tomorrow. That is actually a very intriguing game, or it's actually later on tonight now, New Zealand time, because we don't really know how those two sides match up. We saw Namibia have a close game with Uruguay not too long ago for the Rugby World Cup warm-up games. This game, though, when they do play later on tonight, I feel like the Italians, there is a chance that they put a lot of points on the Namibians for the first opening game of the Rugby World Cup for those two sides. But looking through at France and their journey to the quarterfinals, if they, of course, do make it there. France versus Uruguay, that will be next weekend on Friday morning, New Zealand time at 7 a.m. I'm glad that didn't take place this week. So at 7 a.m. I was up yesterday getting ready to pour concrete, but luckily that is not the case next Friday, so we will be able to cover that game. France versus Namibia, that has taken place in 13 days' time. They then have their West week, I almost said, but their rest week, where they do not have a game, and then they are playing the Italians, the Six Nations rematch. And to be honest, in that Six Nations, I believe it was about 29 points to 24, so that could actually be quite an awesome contest when we do see them go head-to-head. For the All Blacks, they've got a slightly different journey. They have got Namibia next week on the Saturday morning. Then they have got the Italians in 2 weeks' time after that game up against Namibia. And then the week after that, they have got a game up against Uruguay. Quite a quick turnaround, only around that 6 days. But by then, the All Blacks, I would assume that they have been able to put their way into the quarterfinals. So they have just confirmed it on this, and now we have got the confirmation we needed. Sam Cane is out, Dalton Papali'i to 7, Tupavai to 6, and Brodie Retallick to go to the bench. That makes me a little bit concerned, because if Brodie Retallick returns too quickly from his injury and then ends up getting re-injured, he might be out for the rest of this World Cup. So it seems like a massive risk. I guess they don't want to use up Josh Lord just in case he gets injured. It's an intriguing one, but going with Guzzler off the bench, ladies and gentlemen. A big call for the All Blacks for the opening game. But in the chat, we have got going to watch the game, listening to your commentary. Amish says, Power Bite. Thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciate it. And great work, loving this build-up. Time difference for you. I will take it, Style says, bystander. Yeah, I am fully expecting to pretty much almost give myself jet lag over this Rugby World Cup with the hours that we're going to be following. So we'll be working about 3 days a week doing the building side of things, and then the weekends and everything around that part, we're going to be sleeping like a Northern Hemisphere person. And when weird opening ceremony, says Power Bite, if Brodie is now on the bench, does that mean he was always fit? I don't think so. I think they're taking a big risk having Brodie Retallick off the bench. But we'll have to wait and see whether or not it pays off. Maybe they're hoping that he doesn't need a huge amount of game time. The poll is tipping towards the ABs. I'm eating lunch right now and kickoff is at 3:15 p.m. We have got there, that's when I leave for work. Thankfully, I have Peacock on my phone, says Mo. So yeah, you will be covered throughout this whole Rugby World Cup. I believe there are quite a few free-to-air options. I know that someone mentioned in Ireland you have got free-to-air option of RTE, if I'm not wrong. And we have got there, what's the official odds now, says Kerr. That is a very good question. So the last time that I saw them, New Zealand came in as $1.85 favourites over the French, who were sitting $2. But now I have a feeling as we get a little bit closer to kickoff, that may slightly change. It has only slightly, like a little tiny bit. New Zealand are $1.82 favourites compared to the France $2. So it's just a little bit more in favour of the All Blacks, which I guess is because maybe the Kiwis are starting to wake up. A lot more people putting their money on before we get in there. Sam Kane out confirmed. French journalist in there says Cohen. So yeah, they have shown it on the New Zealand coverage as well. So we can now confirm that that is the case. But it's always tricky to trust Twitter normally because, I mean, I've seen a lot of stuff on Twitter that has been far from the truth. And can't see the opening ceremony on DSTV. Just TV ad says, oh, well, that's a bit of a shame. Overall, I feel like that is something that maybe they should have thought about because a lot of people want to see the opening ceremony, even if they're not that interested in it. It's just that feeling of we're now here at the Rugby World Cup. What happened to Sam Kane? Injury. But they haven't said to the extent that the injury is. I'm trying to remember. He had a back injury, didn't he, in the game up against... Was it South Africa that he injured his back? That original first game up against South Africa? Or it might have actually been one of the matches up against Australia that he ended up getting that little bit of an injury. Watch out for those French fellas. They'll jump all over you to that try line, says Roof. And they have got some clinical try scorers throughout this French side. So the All Blacks won't be able to underestimate the power that the French do have in this back line. They have got the likes of Damien Pinot. They have got Gavin Villiers as an option. Ramos at 15, who offers that kicking game. And then alongside that, you have still got that midfield combo of Mofana as well as Galfiku. But looking through at the previous fixtures for these two sides, in fact, I believe for previous fixtures, I may actually only have the French previous ones. So we will look through at them, looking at the way that they played in their August internationals. They had a very close game up against the Scottish, in which they did actually end up losing that match 25 points to 21. It was unfortunate for the French. They did play a little bit more of a developmental side, but that did not mean that they didn't have the capabilities of winning that game. Just weren't quite clinical enough for a majority of that match. For France versus Scotland, in the rematch, they were able to get themselves the victory, and that was actually with their strongest side. So it does mean that Scotland, if they can play like they did in those two games, perhaps Pool B could be a little bit closer than some people are anticipating. Then they had their game up against the Fijians, winning at 34 points to 17, and then their game up against the Australians. That was only 2 weeks ago, 41 points to 17, a much better win over the Aussies. And the interesting part that we've seen for France here over their last 4 games, if we're noticing a bit of a trend, it's the fact that they have conceded at least 17 points in their last 4 performances. Now, that will bode well for the All Blacks, as they are normally known for getting themselves quite a few points, although they weren't able to do so in their last game up against South Africa. But I'm sure throughout that Rugby Championship, with the way that this points differential sits, try scoring will be exactly what they want to do. Plus 75 across 3 games of the Rugby Championship, which means that they were able to score themselves probably around 11 or so more tries than most of the opposition. In terms of that points differential, yeah, this game, I have a feeling it's going to be relatively close for a start while both sides get used to the heat. And then from there, it's going to be a test of who has the better gas tank. Will the late changes for the All Blacks end up hurting them a little bit here because of so many reshuffles? I've seen many things on Twitter that raises the eyebrows. Not all rugby, or I've seen many things on Twitter, says Kern. Not all rugby related, says here and there as well. Yeah, sometimes Twitter, you know, it's an interesting place. Although it's called X now, isn't it? They actually changed it. Elon's been all about it, getting the name change in recent times. And Hamish Bro, after long Rugby World Cup, or after long time France hosts a Rugby World Cup, says Vishal. And yeah, it's going to be an exciting one. I know that they had the UFC there last weekend, and we actually got to hear the French national anthem being sung from the stands. I feel like this game is going to be no different. We're going to see a lot of people enjoying the atmosphere. All of these seats behind me are going to be full. Not literally, I can't update the picture, but in the actual stadium, they will be. How can I watch the World Cup? Live in Saudi Arabia online. I looked everywhere, says Ninja, the boss. Saudi Arabia. Do you guys have Amazon Prime there or Peacock? Either of those two? They may be your best bets, perhaps. In that regard, we have also got there in the chat another donation. This time Neo69. Doesn't matter, it's time they all stand up, says Neo69. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of players in this game who, I guess, the intrigue is there because overall try scorers for the competition, it's been talked about a lot. Whether it's going to be Damien Pinot, Will Jordan, I saw Cheslin Colby's relatively up there, James Lowe. So I will ask you guys the question while we are just a little bit away from kickoff. Who do you all feel will be the leading try scorer in this competition? South African ref says Urakesh, it is Jaco Piper in charge of this one, which I think most people are okay with. And what happened to Sam Cane? Just a little bit of an injury from what we've heard. So we're not sure of the extent as of yet, but hopefully nothing too serious because the last thing that they want just before the World Cup opener is losing your captain. So I would believe, actually I hadn't thought about this. Who's going to be captain now? Do they give it to Artie Savia or do they give it to Sam Whitelock out of the two? I feel like Artie Savia may end up getting the nod just because they may try and balance Whitelock's load a little bit more. Watching from Mexico. Says Andres, so welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing very well. Curtly Arinsa for the leading try scorer from James Moriarty. There's nothing about whether Sam Cane is out long term or just for this match, says Kian. So yeah, we will have to wait and see exactly the extent of the injury. But yeah, hopefully nothing too serious. The All Blacks have already got a relatively long injury list starting to build, whether that's Lomax, whether that is, well, I was going to say Retallick, but he's back at the moment, so it's interesting to see how that will go for him. Artie Savia at number 8, Dalton Papali at 7, and then Tupavai at 6 is actually the loose forward trio that they've got. Would they have been better off putting Luke Jacobson into the starting side and going with Va'i and Josh Lord off the bench, perhaps? 2 locks. And they have rushed Retallick back. We need to pray no second towers get injured, says Lord 7. Exactly right. If they do end up rushing him back for this game and he ends up with some sort of injury, the All Blacks are going to look relatively silly because that could cost them later on in the competition. It was initially said that Retallick would be back just before the quarterfinals. The fact that we are about 4 or 5 weeks away from that stage and he is already back, that makes me nervous. And Alia said, hi, welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing very well. Anyone know what happened to Kane? Says Senzo. I assume that it was just in the warm-up or something along those lines. Maybe took a little bit of a knock. We haven't heard the extent of what it is going to be, whether it's like an injury or whether it's like a head knock maybe that he took just before the game. And we have got there a host of the Rugby World Cup where fans don't get murdered, says Floyd Kingy, and Grav Kieran. It's how France got it. Do some research, says Andres. And Curtly Arinsa to be leading try scorer with Cheslin not too far behind, says Moni Lagrange. And of course, this World Cup, because all of those sides that we are talking about, New Zealand, France, South Africa, as well as the other side who is going to be in that group, whether that is Ireland or Scotland, they are all on the same side of the draw, which means there's going to be 2 great sides and a couple great try scorers who get knocked out of the competition a bit earlier than people would have anticipated. Real question is, why is Roy Gard not starting? Great question. Maybe not so much starting, but off the bench, I would have had him 110%. And twice on a Saturday, which it is. Morena Farnell says, Erin, welcome in, mate. And also get Blackadder on a plane now, says Lord 7th. Well, that's the thing. He's playing for the Tasman Marcos. Okay. Sam Cane, they are just talking about him now. Back spasms for Sam Cane. I mentioned about that just a little bit ago. I said that he had an injury to his back in one of the earlier games of the Rugby Championship, and that seems like that is the reason that he will be missing. Hamish to start for New Zealand. Get him to France ASAP, says Kieran. Tell you what, I'm not playing loose forward. I can guarantee you that. I'm probably about I was going to say maybe about 1.5 too small. That position, Roy Gard to start next match, says Floyd Kingy. And back injury, says Kieran. It is indeed. Or Kian, sorry, I should say. And I love All Blacks forever. But don't tell the Springboks, says Leon. And of course, the Springboks, they have got their game up against Scotland coming up in the near future. We will be covering that one on the channel as well. It doesn't sound long term. He'll be back next week, says username. Yeah, he'll need some rest and recovery, making sure that that back isn't going to continue doing so because, yeah, back spasms, they're one of those ones that if they go away, you're fine, but then they can kind of last a little bit. Like it could be a few weeks perhaps before we see Sam Cane. And forget Blackadder, bring in or Summer Penny now, says Neo69. Very true. Feel like Summer Penny now extremely unlucky not to be in this All Blacks side. Definitely with the loose forwards that they have gone with. They went with that extra lock. Even Summer Penny now, he can cover lock as well. And you can't hang out in St. Denis without getting stabbed. Ask the Liverpool fan, says Powerbite. We always got their born and bred South African, but love the ABs. Ever since I got control of my brain cells, please do tell the Springboks, says Berlitia. And also we've got Berlitia, I should say. And I live in Paris for 5 years, lad, and it's safe as houses. Off you pop, says Kieran. And also Sam Cane out, New Zealand effed, says Safari Kiwi. Well, it's certainly going to add a new dynamic to the starting lineup because they are going to be going with a change that they weren't initially anticipating. In fact, they're going with quite a few changes. So we will look through at this New Zealand side and we will let you know exactly what has changed. Ethan de Groot, Cody Taylor and Nepololala, they are still the front row that I know of. We haven't heard anything about any other injuries for the ABs at this stage. Sam Whitelock and Scott Barrett, that is unchanged. They will still be the locking duo. Dalton Papali'i at number 6 has now moved to number 7 because of the injury of Sam Cane. Tupavai off the bench moves into the starting lineup to go to number 6. And then Adi Savia, he keeps his spot playing. And number 8, I'm wondering, I still don't know if they made the right decision bringing Retallick back early. We'll see how match fit he is though. Hopefully he will be all right. Aaron Smith at number 9 with Richie Mo'unga being the starting number 10. Anton Leonard-Brown and Rieko Ioane in the midfield combination. That was due to the injury that the All Blacks had of Geordie Barrett. Mark Talia at number 11. Will Jordan at number 14. I'm expecting at least one try from one of those two. And then Bowden Barrett at number 15. Now I should also mention, news broke earlier on in the week, Imoni Narawa has been taken out of this Rugby World Cup squad due to an injury. So I believe that they might be flying over about 2 or 3 players for the ABs perhaps as the injury cover, but they have got a few players with them. I'm not sure whether or not they did bring Sean Stevenson that I know of. I know that Weber was over there in England with them. I don't know whether he's flown back or whether he's still here, but he's not exactly the position that they are after currently. So at some stage, we may even see McKenzie taken maybe... I don't know what they're going to do. It's going to be interesting, that is for sure. I'm trying to analyse it in my head, working out what changes they'll have to make in their backs. They shouldn't have to make too many, seeing as Caleb Clark is still available. Out on the right wing, you have got the option now of Will Jordan or maybe going with Mark Talia out on that wing. Whainā Nuku back to the left in future games. The All Blacks, they will have a lot of thinking that they'll have to do. We've got a super sticker from Mumbo Jumbo Kiwi as well. Thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciated for that super sticker. I will quickly refresh my tab because the Wi-Fi cut out and it will tell me exactly what that super sticker says. And we have got there Norm Foster's clearly baked off cookies. Can't handle the stress without some edibles in the chat as well. And it is the lemon with a heart. There you go. Thank you very much, Mumbo Jumbo Kiwi. Hugely appreciated. All Blacks all the way, says Andreas. And also, yes, buddy, keep those donations coming, folks. Lots of effort and time put in by this gentleman. Let's give him a show of support for his commitment. Like and subscribe, says Kerr. Yeah, anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We are going to be covering a majority of this Rugby World Cup on the channel. So if you are new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It is hugely appreciated. And we have got so much more Rugby World Cup just around the corner. Speaking of just around the corner, this game edging closer, about 35 minutes away from the kickoff. And then we are ready to go for the opening game. Does anybody know where I can watch the World Cup for free from South Africa without a VPN? That is probably very tricky, unfortunately, due to the fact that they have got it on DSTV. So I don't think there's a free-to-view option in South Africa that I know of, sadly. Although we've got a few South African viewers in the chat, so maybe there might be someone who knows. And give them a taste of Kiwi, says Blue. Tupavai needs to have a game of his life tonight, says Lord 7th. Well, the thing is, they had a man perfectly suited for this scenario, which would have been Summer Penny Finau, but due to the fact that he is not with the squad, I actually thought that they may have gone with Jacobson into the starting side, and then instead of having Tupavai at 19, put him to 20, and then have Josh Lord as the replacement number 19. But I guess because it's up against France, they want to go with that experience that Brodie Retallick offers off of the bench. SABC showing free in South Africa. Okay, so that is an option for you if you do want to watch that. In South Africa here, supporting the French tonight, says Jane. So I assume that means that you do want to have it, that it is South Africa versus New Zealand in the quarterfinals, Jane. In that case, 30k subscribers by the semi-finals, says Kurt. It would be an absolutely awesome achievement if we are able to do so. So if anyone is new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Catch a whole heap of rugby updates on the channel throughout this Rugby World Cup, as well as after. We've got the URC that will be starting up in early November. Alongside that, there is also the 7 circuit, which we will be covering on the channel, getting closer to the Olympics. Didn't it start yet, says Steinberg? Not quite, no. About 30 minutes away from the kickoff. The two sides, they are looking very dangerous. They are just showing the changes that the All Blacks had to make, with Tupavai making his way into blindside flanker. But I talked about that Six Nations for the French, just very briefly about their game up against the Italians. It was relatively close, which is why France, they would love to be able to walk away with a victory here. These are actually their results from their August internationals, the Rugby World Cup warm-up games. They had that 2-match series up against Scotland, both of which being extremely close. France versus Fiji, it did go in favour of Les Bleus, 34 points to 17. And then France versus Australia, 41 points to 17. But I mentioned about it earlier on. In all of their last 4 games for France, they have conceded at least 17 points, which also has included conceding at least 2 tries. So yes, they are an extremely attacking side. And when they find their momentum, they can be extremely dangerous. But they do end up conceding the occasional try alongside that. And I believe that a big word that will come to mind for not just France, but also for New Zealand in this game, discipline. In the last game between the All Blacks and the Springboks, we saw a lot of penalties going against the All Blacks. France, if they can get their discipline right, they may be able to find a little bit of momentum throughout this game, which might be a rarity because of the skill of these two sides and how well they have been able to match each other in past games. We have got hi Hamish, says Daniel Watson. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing very well. Prime Gritter said hi in there as well. I need to see if there are any fixtures in early February down your way, says Kerr. I know that we've got Super Rugby that will be taking place just a little bit later in February. I think that's about the 20th of Feb. But in the early stages of February, I'd like to think we'll have something on around New Zealand, whether or not maybe it's just schoolboy rugby and whatnot that has fired back up. And often Lulala are worrying me because both lazy and penalty prone, says Neo69. And the thing that we saw in that game between the All Blacks and the Box was if you do allow a side to pretty much handle the ball for phase after phase because you keep on being ill-disciplined, you are going to lose territory. And the All Blacks, I believe that France early on in this game will try and force them back into their 22 and slowly just try and wear down on them with the heat. France will be a little bit more used to this temperature, seeing as they have been playing in France for the last couple of weeks. We have got, hi brother, it's awesome seeing you grinding, or seeing you grinding has come this far. Big ups to your brother, says Alan, thank you very much, 4K. Hugely appreciate it. I'm glad to have you back for this Rugby World Cup as well. We have been uploading consistently and live streaming consistently for about the last 3 and a bit years. And now that the Rugby World Cup is finally here, I remember when we were doing streams and we were like, it's about 1,040 days until the Rugby World Cup, ladies and gentlemen. And now it's less than 40 minutes till the opening game, which is going to be New Zealand versus France. So it's going to be absolutely awesome. See how it goes. Do you think it's going to start slow and composed? Fast-paced balls to the wall from the first whistle. I think we'll see a little bit of a slower start, but then saying that, these two sides, it wouldn't surprise me at all if they both try and push the pace early, wear down on their opposition. I think New Zealand, with the fact that they've got Dalton Papali'i now starting at 7, that's a little bit of an adjustment that they'll have to make. But if he can get over the ball early, try and get those turnovers. The thing is, both of these sides won't really want to go to the breakdown too often because at the moment, most breakdowns end up with an advantage going to one side or either side in that case. And good evening, everybody. Isn't there perhaps a site where these games can be streamed from? Says Abdurraf. Depends on whereabouts you are in the world because I've just heard that there is an option in, it was South Africa. I think New Zealand's TVNZ may have their games on there, or at least they have the All Blacks games. And All Blacks for the win tonight. Springbok supporter here, but back in New Zealand all the way tonight, says the breakdown. And also we have got the hydrate, Hamish, hydrate, conserve your voice, says CK Gamer. I've got a massive bottle of water here. This is going to be probably used up by the end of this one. But yeah, we've got a lot of talking coming up this weekend. We're hopefully going to be covering at least 6 of the games. The plan is to do 8, but depending on the sleep schedule and getting used to the time zone that I will now find myself in will depend on if we get those other 2 games in as well. Rugby World Cup matches for Anton Leonard-Brown. He has had 5 in his career. He comes into 12 due to the injury that we saw at Geordie Barrett earlier on in the week. Cool, thank you, says Robert. And I think that adrenaline will be pumping and those Frenchies are going for the try line straight away. Quick try, All Blacks, keep your head, says Roof. And that was actually a tactic that Ireland used up against New Zealand a little while ago when it was that New Zealand versus Ireland tour. Ireland scored first in a majority of those matches and straight away it put the All Blacks on the back foot. Nice to see you lads again. Hi from Siberia, go the Kiwis, says Jonathan Fraser. And there, are you able to show us the game, says Mike Knowles. Sadly, due to the licensing, any match footage or audio would get us taken straight off YouTube, which is a massive shame because with the Rugby World Cup being here, of course, we would have loved to be able to show it, but we will be doing the radio-style commentary throughout the match, and then alongside that, the highlights will be up on the Rugby Pass Plus, I think it's called, which is a free app that they have now brought out, the Rugby World Cup app as well. We will be able to see a lot of the extended highlights on there, so I do recommend checking that out as well. So over here from the US, is it streaming on Peacock? Or it is streaming on Peacock, but not for free, unfortunately, says Wickus. Do Peacock have any sort of free trial or anything like that, Wickus? Do let me know. And how much sleep are you going to get, says Mornay. I think that we're going to be running off probably about 4 or 5 hours sleep per night across this Rugby World Cup. During the week, we will try and catch up, of course. But, yeah, I would say that throughout the weekends, we're not going to have a huge amount of sleep. And Kiwi lads love the tie, says Matthew. Thank you very much, mate. Usually appreciate it. I did go with the slightly different tie. I went with the blue on it rather than just going with the classic black. So I'm a little bit more impartial. Aaron Smith in the background of the 2 commentators, just having a bit of a warm-up of his pass. And that is a battle that I haven't even mentioned yet, which tells you how much info there is to do with this game. The fact that we haven't brought up Antoine Dupont versus Aaron Smith. That is going to be so exciting to see these 2 go head-to-head. The last time we got to see it was in 2021. France were able to get themselves the victory on that night. But now that we get to see it in a Rugby World Cup, it's just going to hit different by just that little bit more. There's going to be a lot of intensity. If they can get that ball out of the breakdown quickly, it's going to be very interesting to see. Will any team be wearing their alternative jersey? I think for this game, they're both allowed their home kit, if I'm not wrong. Although the All Blacks, they may actually end up wearing the white, now that I think about it. All France wear it, seeing as they are the home team, but they might be like, we'll wear the alternative strips so that the All Blacks can wear the black, and DuPont will eat them alive, says Kerr. And also we have got their Peacock is free, but to watch live sports, you have to upgrade to the Prime package, says Mo. You're all set it up for this moment, says Brandon Slater. Yeah, we've been waiting a long time, and if there was ever a time to wear the suit, and we talk about big match feel, has to be this one. Is the match going to show you, or is he just talking? I am just talking, sorry, Brandon. For this one, due to licensing, we weren't able to secure any broadcasting rights, mainly because I don't have a few $1 million, sadly. But we're working on that. Too hot in Europe right now. Yeah, it's supposed to be about 33 degrees for this match, so there's going to be plenty of heat. And with the fact that they're inside of that stadium, it's going to be like a pressure cooker. And the big question is which side's going to be able to handle that pressure better throughout the early stages. We are here, says Jeremy. And also Roy Gard looks very good. His try against us wasn't impressive, says Business Lee. Yeah, it's a disappointment, I think, that Roy Gard isn't getting the chance up against France, because that is one of those teams that I think he would have prospered and done pretty well up against. But I think that's because they're saving him for next week. They do want to play him in the game up against the Namibians. They are just talking to some All Blacks fans. They didn't know that Sam Cane was going to be missing. Are you in New Zealand? Says Matthew, I am indeed. So anyone who hasn't already heard the news, Sam Cane injured for this match. Back spasms means that he will not be playing. Dalton Papali'i moves from 6 to 7. Tupavai moves into the starting lineup at number 6. And then from there, it is going to be Brodie Retallick coming off the bench. No roof on Stade de France, which still doesn't mean that it won't be hot inside of that stadium with all the people around the ground. And just that intenseness. It's going to be massively, massively awesome to watch. License Fund, says Kieran there. Thank you very much for the donation, mate, once again. I could send World Rugby a message and be like, hey, I got £10. Would that be enough to do it? They'd probably laugh at me, wouldn't they? And All Blacks says, man, also what are the odds for the draw? About $16, I believe I saw, was the betting odds for the draw in this match, which, to be honest, could be quite a likely option. We've talked about how close this game could end up being. And at the moment, I don't see this game being any different. My prediction was 25 points to 22 in favour of the All Blacks. Have it in your mind, in your notebook, says Malfui. And also we've got the evening Hamish. Evening all, let the party begin. Go the All Blacks, says Kerno Vic. And New Zealand just finished whipping England in the cricket, says Trajan. And Papali moves to 7, his preferred position, says Sam Wilson. And yeah, it's actually slightly funny in a way because on the the lineup prediction for the All Blacks, I made that comment about Dalton Papali playing one of the 3 positions, and I read out a quote from him, and he pretty much said he doesn't care whether he plays 6, 7, or 8, he wants to do what he can for the team. And I feel like him at number 7 here, maybe with that late change, could be a bit of an X factor for the Kiwis. He'll be going head-to-head with Charles Olivon, though, who has known for a while that he's going to be the number 7 in this game. If they said who's the New Zealand captain yet, nothing on the UK showing yet regards to the New Zealand captain. It is Ardie Savia from the lineup that we did see. They had the little C next to his name. Sports channels need to snap this chap up so good, says Bystander. Thank you very much, mate. Usually appreciated. And man, this will be an epic game. I'm watching it on ITV, says Sir Robinson. And who's the captain tonight? Ardie Savia will be captain for the All Blacks. Looking through at the benches once again for these two sides. A lot of talent off both sides benches, but for France, they've got Pietro Malvaca. He will be the straight replacement for Julien Marchand. So I believe that France, if they can use their rolling maul, they may be able to make quite a few meters. Jean-Baptiste Grue at number 17 and El Diegri at number 18. Romain Taufifenua at 19 with Bodian at 20. Luku, the replacement for Antoine Dupont. He doesn't normally get a huge amount of game time when they do have Dupont as the starting number 9. Arthur Vincent. And then it is Melvin Jaminet. Now, quite a few people thought that Vincent might have a chance of starting due to the injury that we saw of Jonathan Dante. I have to say the All Blacks, they will probably be quite happy that Dante will not be in this game because his work in the breakdown is, at the moment, I would say the best out of any back in World Rugby. And that's quite a bold bit of praise. But out of all of the backs that I can think of, none of them are getting as many turnovers as Jonathan Dante is currently. So the All Blacks, they will consider that relatively lucky. The slightly unfortunate thing for them, the fact that they don't have Geordie Barrett. So they also lose that long kicking aspect that they could have had. But for New Zealand, it is Samisoni Taukeiaho, Ofa Tuangafasi and Fletcher Null coming off the bench. Tupavai at number 19 with Luke Jacobson at number 20. That has completely changed. Va'i is now on the starting side at 6 and Retallick will be coming off the bench compared to what we have got to our side. Finley Christie at number 21, David Arveli and Lester Whaiananuku, 2 Crusaders, 2 Tasman Marcos, and 2 men who have recently returned from injury as well. In the chat, we have got there from, tell you what, there's a lot of chat. Great hosting, future. You're on national TV in the future, says Gary Smith. Thank you very much, mate. Usually appreciated there as well. And as an injuries, always big negative, says Jay, they are. And unfortunately, over the last few weeks, we have seen a huge amount of injuries for a whole heap of sides around the world. We lost Caleb Muntz for the Fijians. That's a massive hit to them because he was going to be absolutely outstanding throughout this Rugby World Cup, I believe. There's also no Roman Intermac for the French. At the moment, no Jonathan Dante. Dan Sheehan for Ireland, looking a little bit in doubt for the first couple games. You look through all these international sides. Jack Van Porfleet for England. He was the 9 that they were pretty much building their game around. Whether or not it was working well for England is a wait and see for this World Cup, but it was still the plan. And losing their big lock was a game for us. So I'm sure that you are talking about old Paul Valimza in that case. And what's up, buddy? Excited for this? I think the All Blacks win it comfortably, says Coding. You're confident, but it's going to be a tough game. I'm sure that it's going to go down to the wire. I think that both of these sides will look at this game as, yes, we want to win it, of course, but we also want to get out of this game without any injuries. And the All Blacks have already failed to do so with Sam Cane being out before the match is beginning. Is there any injured World Cup team now with all the injuries? Or is there an injured World Cup team? I think we'd be close. The fly halves is quite contested because there's a lot of fly halves out at the moment around the world. So, yeah, you got fly half, you got a centre, you got your props handled. Sheehan is going to be your hooker option, I would say. But yeah, there's a lot of injuries. And even if there are players in these starting sides for the first round, some of them are still nursing injuries as well. That is the concern. Ethan de Groot in their last game up against South Africa, he looked far from 100%. But he's in the starting lineup here. So whatever that injury was, be hoping that it swept under the rug, that he's ready to go. We have got Bro the Bock is going to win, says Maku. And also we have got the Ireland and France final would be my favourite outcome, says Jon Honey. And why is the Barrett brothers always in the starting lineup, says Karen? I mean, Foster always backs them in terms of that experience that they offer. The good news about Beauden Barrett at 15 is he is the kind of X-Factor player that could help the All Blacks in this case. Scott Barrett, he's been in absolutely phenomenal form. Geordie, he's injured for this game, so it means that he is going to be left out. 20 minutes lad says username and $10 bet on Ireland not qualifying, says Kerr. Geez, they'll be paying a little bit too, wouldn't it? If I'm not wrong. But that group's going to be heavily contested, just like Pool C and D. I feel like, to be honest, Pool A is probably the easiest to predict. But then that's saying something because Italy, if they can cause an upset, that statement's going to be completely out the window. And perhaps it could be just that little bit closer. We see the All Blacks warming up in the background. I see Big Brody Retallick having a bit of a run around, so that is slightly beneficial for the All Blacks. Like I mentioned, he's going to be coming off the bench in this game, even though his return date from injury was going to be in about 3 or 4 weeks' time. They've brought him back early for this game to have him coming off the bench. But all of these teams, apart from Uruguay and also apart from Tonga, will be in action throughout this weekend, ladies and gentlemen, and we will be covering a majority of those games. These are the matches that we have got to look forward to. The next match of the Rugby World Cup, Italy taking on Namibia. That will be at 11 p.m. New Zealand time. So that is taking place in about 16 hours time. Ireland going to be taking on Romanians at 1:30 a.m. New Zealand time. So depending on whereabouts you are in the world, Paris time, which is local at this stage, that will be a 3:30 p.m. kickoff. And I believe that that is almost the same in Ireland, or it might actually be 2:30. But in South Africa, it is also a 3:30 p.m. kickoff. Australia versus Georgia, England versus Argentina. All four of those matches taking place on the same day. Japan versus Chile, South Africa, Scotland, and then also Wales versus Fiji. But the plan is to cover at least 6 of these games. The only ones that we may be missing this week would end up being the 11 p.m. games, just so that we can sleep that little bit longer to stay up all throughout the night. But I think the plan's going to be to try and cover absolutely all of them. We have got the by far the best man to listen to for commentary on YouTube. Seriously, we'll be watching the game on DSTV soon. Keep up the great work, says Nellius. Thank you very much, mate. Usually appreciate it. Are you going to show the game too? Sadly, due to licensing, we aren't able to show the game, but we are going to be doing the commentary all throughout the fixture, let you guys know exactly what is happening out on the field, and I will let you know exactly where to find those highlights of the game as well afterwards. Scott Barrett red card, says Chad there. We also got the O Bulls. I think there could not be any tighter flip, says Distracted Sports. Welcome in, Tony. Hope you are doing very well, mate. It's the World Cup. It is here. We've been waiting for a long time. I'm sure yourself will have a lot of videos on this World Cup throughout. And baptism of fire for Scotland. Says Kurt, yeah, they're certainly going to be put up against it in their group. They're up against the Springboks, the defending champs in their opening game. But I feel like Scotland, with the form that they've been in, there is a chance that they can at least make it contestable, which I think is exactly what they want. If they can't walk away with a victory, you've got to get that points differential up, because then if you're able to beat Ireland, then that all of a sudden opens up the door for a chance of going through. We have got the ABs wearing the black or white today. I believe, from what I have seen, I think they'll be wearing the black, but there is a big chance that they'll be wearing the away kit, actually. What is this audio commentary listed below? I think that's just on their website for flash score, so that might also be an option for anyone who does want to hear a little bit of the audio. I don't know whether that is of the game as well, though. And we have got hi, says subscribe for V-Bucks. He said hi in the chat as well. And let's go, boys, almost there. We are indeed 15 minutes away, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't already, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We are on the road to 30,000 subscribers, and perhaps we can even reach it by the end of today. So if you do want to help us out, be sure to hit that subscribe button. When does the game start? It is starting in 15 minutes time. So as we get a little bit closer to the kickoff, we need to mention once again, it is 33 degrees at the stadium Two sides are going to be absolutely cooking out there, and SENZ should have the commentary. Says Tony there, and also can't wait for the Namibians game, says Curtis. And also we have got there, how you doing? Awesome commentary from Stan. And also keep it up. I'm a 4th gen Scot living in South Africa. Sunday will be interesting box all the way still, says Stan. And yeah, that game's going to be an absolutely ripper of a contest. We're going to be covering it on the channel. It's a tricky one to predict, isn't it? Because there's going to be a lot of physicality, and I think that's similar to this game. We just want to see a game without any injuries. I think that's the main thing. This is going to be the 1995 repeat, says Archie, and also we have got their box are going to win the Rugby World Cup, says the Daily Disinformation channel. Wait, so is that disinformation or is that correct information? I feel like your channel name is referring to the fact that it wouldn't happen. And Hamish calls the game the best. Says Tony, and as a Springbok supporter, I support France in this match. Are you a little nervous about this game? Says Mornay Lagrange. To be honest, I've done so many commentary live streams on the channel where I've been completely impartial that I don't think the occasion has hit me yet. I know that it's the Rugby World Cup and I know I'm very excited, but the fact that we are covering all the different games and I'm getting like equally excited for a lot of them means that, yeah, it hasn't hit me the fact that the All Blacks are about to take to the field for a Rugby World Cup here in what some people would consider as a must-win game up against the French. But looking through at this French side once more, we will of course look at them in the national anthems as well, but it is Wardy, Julian Mochon and Yui Antonio who will be the selective front row in this game. Mochon, he's got a very accurate line out. Antonio alongside Wardy, they'll be looking to put pressure on the New Zealand scrum with the change that the New Zealanders have made with Nepal Olala being in the starting side. It will be Waki and Flamand. I feel like Waki, he has got a lot to offer in this game for France. When he drives his leg, he's a hard man to put down on the grass. And in the loose ball trio, they have got Cruz, Charles Olivon, and Gregory Aldred as well. So Aldred versus Savi is just an awesome matchup that I know going to be absolutely incredible to watch. Antoine Dupont and Melvin Jaminet as the number 10, and that is due to the injury that we saw of Roman Intermac. It means that he will no longer be taking part throughout this Rugby World Cup. So Jalibert, a big opportunity for him to be starting. I think I said Melvin rather than Matthew, so I do apologise for that as well. Mofana at 12 with Galfiku on the outside. That is due to the injury that we saw of Jonathan Dante. Gavin Villiers out on the left wing. Damien Pinot, a lot of people's pick to be the leading try scorer in this competition. And then Thomas Ramos at number 15. He's got a good kicking game. Also, the thing is for France, I think they'll give the kicking tee to Ramos. I don't know whether they'll give it to Jalibert. Definitely not in this game, seeing as he probably initially wasn't going to be in the starting side, but we will look through the chat. Once again, we have got another donation from David the Mod. Thank you very much, mate. So looking forward to this Titanic matchup, Hamish, says David in there as well. And we have got there, we belong, get it done. Kapa'a Panga, says Sean. And also we have got there, get up boys, says Neo69 as you can. Going to be on the stream during the game, says Ethan. Sadly, due to licensing, if we were to show any match footage or audio, we would get taken straight off YouTube and banned for 3 months. But what we can do is offer you the play-by-play commentary throughout the game if there is no other option for you to be able to watch. And then from there, I know where we can find the highlights. It will be on either World Rugby's YouTube channel, or it might be on the All Blacks, or there is actually an app as well. Hamish, sorry, you're going to have to commentate Box versus New Zealand in the final, says Archie. I mean, if that was the final, though, I don't think it's a bad one to have to commentate, is it? I feel like it'd be an electric game, and a lot of people want to see that as the final, although there are also talks that we could see a Northern Hemisphere final. So who knows, maybe. There's a lot of games that we need answers to, and we are about to get them for this game in particular. Looking through at the All Blacks starting lineup, it will be Ethan de Groot at number 1, Cody Taylor at 2, and number 3, Nepal Olala, Sam Whitelock and Scott Barrett, the Crusaders teammates, going to be at 4 and 5. A lot of experience between them, which they will try to use up against the slightly more inexperienced Lock and Joy. For France, Dalton Papali, he is no longer at 6. It was the breaking news that Sam Cane did end up with an injury. He's got a back spasm, which means that Dalton moves to number 7. Tupavai moves to number 6, and then Adi Savia will be slotting in as the number 8. Aaron Smith and Richie Moonga, the 19 combination. Anton Leonard-Brown at 12 due to the injury of Geordie Barrett. Rico Ioane at 13, and then the back 3, Mark Dallaire, try-scoring machine. Will Jordan, try-scoring machine. And Beauden Barrett, he likes to chip the ball. But that is going to be the starting lineup for the All Blacks as well. The two sides now making their way almost out onto the field for the start of the Rugby World Cup. How can we stream it for free? Says Gabriel. I believe that the best option to be able to stream it, depending on whereabouts you are in the world, there are a few different options around, but I know that for France, or sorry, not for France, for New Zealand, I think it's on TVNZ. Hamish always unbiased, says Nazi Williams. Someone asked for my unbiased prediction. I think I'm going with 25 points to 22 to the All Blacks. I think that with the changes that they've made, it may benefit them a little bit more. Dan Carter now making his way out onto the field. He will open the cabinet for the Rugby World Cup. Thing is, that man has played for New Zealand. He has won a World Cup in the past, but alongside that, he has also spent quite a bit of time playing in France and now gets to open the cabinet. Question, I know that this sounds bad, but I would have thought they'd have a South African legend opening the World Cup, seeing as South Africa had it last, rather than the All Blacks, who did have it in 2015. I don't know whether or not that is, maybe they already had it like pre-planned of how it was going to be. We have got there. Come on, guys, subscribe to the channel. This is great commentary, says Gary Smith. Thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciated. But yeah, anyone who is new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 30,000 subscribers. So if you do want to help us out, it is hugely appreciated. But Dan Carter now with the World Cup in his hands will be doing a lap of the... Oh, no, he's not doing a lap. He's stopped. He's taken about 4 steps. He's smiling. Of course, he has done underwear commercials in the past, so he knows how to smile on demand. Nelson Mandela is unavailable to open the World Cup, says Tony there. And also here's Connor, says William, and All Blacks for the win. Says Kershaw, I'm coming back in 20 minutes. I'll watch on DSTV. Says Janine, so hopefully you do enjoy the game. Who won the toss? Or we won the toss, says Blue. And that's something we don't normally get to see, is actually the toss of a match. Normally they'll be showing something else at the time, but Artie Savia using the coin, flipping it. He has won the toss, so he will get to decide what direction New Zealand are going in. I see that Antoine Dupont is wearing the white kit as well during the toss, which does mean that the All Blacks, they will be wearing their home kit for this game, ladies and gentlemen, and the French in their alternative strip. Dan Carter the GOAT unveiling the cup, says the night, and a live match will be seen, says DL. Sadly, we aren't able to show the live match here due to licensing. We will get taken straight off YouTube and possibly sued, but we will be doing the live play-by-play commentary, letting you know exactly what is happening in the action, trying to paint that picture in everyone's minds. We have got who is the ref in this match. It is going to be Jaco Piper, who is in charge of this opening fixture. The All Blacks now just getting kitted up in their jerseys. Tupavai, big opportunity for him to now be in the starting lineup rather than off the bench. I'm still nervous about Brodie Retallick coming off the bench, though, due to the fact that he did have an injury and was expected to be out for a little bit longer than, well, actually about 3 weeks longer than he currently is. I think, Hamish, the score will be close. 25 for the ABs, France 23. Good morning, says Kevin. Welcome in, mate. And doesn't matter who wins the toss, whoever jerks off less will win, says Trade Masters. Well, I sadly do not have that stat. I've got a few stats, but not that one. How much money must I bet on who? I wouldn't bet any money on any of these games for the Rugby World Cup. There are going to be a few upsets along the way. But this one is almost a 50-50 in terms of who will be walking away with the victory. But the two sides just about to make their way out onto the field. We will, of course, have the national anthems, then the haka for the All Blacks, and then the match will be underway. ABs by 7 to 10 points. CSQ, I don't like the fact people are blowing up the France and Ireland time to see now. Says Wayne, and also kia ora, boys. Here I'm sitting in my living room in the south of France, TF1 playing video and listening to you give us the Audi. Says it was Greg T, but now Artie Savia leading the All Blacks onto the field. That is, of course, something that wasn't anticipated to happen for this game. It was instead going to be Sam Cane, and that must have been quite a surprise for Artie Savia, because at the end of the day, he was probably just going about his business, going to be working at number 8, and then they would have said to him about an hour ago, hey, Sam's not playing, you're the captain for the opening game. So, of course, a little bit of extra pressure on his side. I'm looking for those upsets. This is the most even and unpredictable World Cup ever, Pat, says Roberto, and I think that that is what makes it so intriguing for this World Cup, because there are so many sides that could walk away with a victory. Even the group was just looking at Dupont like he wanted to punch him in the face. He was kind of giving him the side eye as he walked past, but now the two sides making their way out onto the field for the opening game of the Rugby World Cup. Viva la New Zealand, and listening to you but watching the television viewing, but rather your input. Thanks for your input. You're the best, says Vanessa. Thank you very much. Hugely appreciated. And the ball now being walked out onto the field as well for these two sides. Should mention that both teams will be in action next week. France, they have got themselves an exciting fixture. We will actually put it up on the screen as well for everyone to know exactly who they will be playing. They will be taking on the Uruguayans, and they will be looking to really extend the points differential in that game. Then they've got Namibia. They've got a 2-week break, and then they're back facing Italy for a rematch of the Six Nations. For New Zealand, they have got themselves Namibia next week. They are in the same boat as France, trying to increase their points differential, trying to finish top of the group. But of course, with this game being the way that it is, and with the teams that are left in this group, people believe whoever wins this one will be the team that finished top of this group. So there has probably, we've seen some massive World Cup openers before, but this one at the moment just feels like it's that much more intense because they know that the spot in the quarterfinals, depending on who they play, no easy games in this World Cup. Once you get to those quarters, we have got, there go the Kiwi, says David, and also where is Kane? Kane is injured. He ended up with back spasms just before the game, so he has been taken out of the starting lineup, and instead it will be Dalton Papali'i at number 7. Tupavai now goes to number 6, but this is the All Blacks side as they are playing the All Blacks national anthem. It will be Ethan de Groot, Cody Taylor, and Nipolulala as the front row. Now, de Groot and Cody Taylor, we have seen quite a bit of them throughout the Rugby Championship. Nipolulala, one of his first starts of 2023. Sam Whitelock, he is a player who has also returned back from injury relatively recently. Scott Barrett, his Crusaders teammate, will be there at number 5. Dalton Papali'i has moved to 7. Vai at number 6. And then Ardie Savea, the dangerous Ardie Savea, the captain Ardie Savea at number 8. Aaron Smith and Richie Mo'unga, the 19 combination that the All Blacks have gone with. Anton Leonard-Brown and Rieko Ioane as the midfield, with Geordie Barrett out with his injury. Mark Talia, Will Jordan, and Beauden Barrett going to be the back three. They'll be looking to get the ball out to those men as soon as possible, with the heat being the way that it is. If they are able to get a fast start in this game, perhaps that is the momentum that either one of these two sides need. They just showed Richie McCaw on the screen and the crowd have erupted. Even though we are halfway through that New Zealand national anthem, they recognise that man for what he has been able to do in an All Blacks kit. They're showing Jerome Kano. Of course, he has spent a lot of time playing in France alongside some great players for Toulouse. Has had that All Blacks kit in the past also. But in the chat, we have got their back spasm. Sounds like he's scared, says the guy, Jensen, or his back is playing up, I would think. And we have got there where you put the game here. Sadly, due to licensing, if we show any match footage or audio, we get taken straight off YouTube. But we will be doing the play-by-play commentary all throughout this match. And for the French side, they are looking very strong, although they have also had their fair share of injury troubles. Wardy at number 1, Julio Marchant at number 2, and then Yui Antonio there at 3. Cameron Waki and Flamand as the combination that is due to the injury of Paul Valimza. Cruz at 6, Charles Olivon at 7, and Gregory Aldrit starting in as the number 8. Antoine Dupont at number 9, Jaminet at number 10. Now that is also injury-based. Intermac not going to be available for any of this Rugby World Cup due to his injuries. We have got their current temperature in Paris at 28 degrees Celsius. Midday was 33 degrees. So it's certainly going to be hot out there on the field. You can see the players already sweating under the French heat there. Mofana and Galfiku going to be the midfield combination. Villiers at 11, Damien Pinot at number 14, and Thomas Ramos, the last man in the starting lineup. He is there at fullback. So the two sides, they have been set. The crowd erupt because the French national anthem has just been sung. That was the wrong button, but now we will put up their benches. France, Malvaka, Gru, as well as El Diegri at 18. Tolfa Fanua, so they may have lost Valimza, but they have still got a massive lock to come off the bench for this game. Bodian at 20, Luku, Vincent, and Jaminet, the last man off the French bench for the All Blacks. They've got Samasoni Taukiaho, Ofatuanga Fasi, and Fletcher Null. Tupavai, he is in the starting lineup, which does mean now off the bench. It will instead be the return of Brodie Retallick. Luke Jacobson at 20. Quite a few Chiefs making their way off the bench for this game. Finlay Christie at 21. David Havili and Lester Whainarnuku, the two back replacements. Not too sure whereabouts they will put those two individuals yet. Maybe Havili goes into 12 for Anton Leonard-Brown. Perhaps we see Whainarnuku making his way onto the field for either Mark Talia or Rieko Ioane, but the All Blacks just about to do the haka, ladies and gentlemen, and then we are straight into the match coverage. It's going to be an absolutely awesome game between these two sides. Do let me know in the chat who you guys feel will walk away with the first try of this match, the exact player. Do let me know. 1 minute to go, says Robert Wood. Rise up, says Honey there, and good luck to the South African ref, Jaco, says B. Goldberg. Yep, Jaco Piper in charge of this contest. And now Aaron Smith, he will be leading the haka with Adi Savia standing at the front. That is due to that late change. Sam Cane out with an injury. The crowd absolutely packed out for this game, and I believe that will be the case throughout a majority of the games in the Rugby World Cup. For anyone who hasn't seen while they are doing the haka, these are the games that we have got in round 1 of the Rugby World Cup. Italy versus Namibia is the other match taking part in Pool A. Ireland versus Romania, Australia, Georgia, and England, Argentina, all taking place within 24 hours. Japan versus Chile, South Africa versus Scotland, and Wales taking on the Flying Fijians. So we have got plenty of rugby action still in the future. We have got another super sticker from Mumbo Jumbo Kiwi. Thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciated for all your donations on this one. Will Jordan seems to be a relatively popular pick at the moment for first try scorer. I also see Jan has gone with Damien Pinot to score the first try. Bowden Barrett is another one there from Kevin, and then Savia for the first try from Kershey. And there as well. And we are beating Scotland, says Typical Timothy. First try Pinot, Jordan Dano, says Kerno Beck. And there are certainly a lot of brilliant try-scoring options throughout this game. But now the haka has been done. The All Blacks are fired up. They built up a massive sweat up just from doing the haka. So that tells you how warm it is out there. The French in the white, the All Blacks in their classic All Blacks black. And the crowd come to life, ladies and gentlemen. 2 minutes away or so from the start of the 2023 Rugby World Cup. It has been a long time coming. 52 matches, all taking part in different locations around France. And the home side in action for their opening fixture up against a side that is very similar to them in the world rankings. Pieto Malvaca, of course, coming off the bench, he can have a real impact, but I believe Jorge Monchon, he will be trying to get in the action early in the All Blacks front row. They've gone with Cody Taylor, a man who hasn't been in action for the last game up against the Springboks, but he has been waiting patiently for his opportunity. They are showing Wardy there. He will be starting at 1. Roygaard to score first. He's going to lose his stuff. Walk down from the stand and onto the park and score a beautiful breakaway try from his own 22, says Kerr. Bowden Barrett just getting warmed up. Same with Aaron Smith. This is a massive one for him. This will be his last Rugby World Cup, so he wants to make the most of it. No penalties, says Blue. Yeah, discipline's going to be important for these two sides. And also, the amount of knock-ons that we see in this game, we may see a few extra knock-ons due to the heat factor that we have got out there on the field. But Antoine Dupont, he knows how to bring the heat to a rugby game. He has done it for France in the past, and he wants to walk away with his first Rugby World Cup. And that's the thing. Aaron Smith, he has been able to be there. He's done that before. 2015. Was that just before or just after Aaron Smith has burst his way onto the scene? But he's been to a World Cup at least. Have under his belt. Ireland as well, says Carol. And also haka time, says Roof. But now they are just showing the cinematic off the ground. The stadium, the atmosphere that is building. And now the kickoff is just around the corner. Jaco Piper, the South African referee, will be in charge of this game, ladies and gentlemen. Carl Dixon is assistant referee with Christoph Ridley. But now New Zealand, they will be kicking off from left to right. The Rugby World Cup 2023 is underway, and Bowden Barrett has kicked it off long. France taking it nicely inside of their 22. Ramos, 5 metres out from his line, will put the ball into touch. And Moonga thought about the quick throw, but instead will put it down. And the All Blacks will have themselves the line-out throw. But I believe that the All Blacks, they'll try and put that pressure on early when it comes to them. Maybe that rolling mold just to try and put the French on the back foot. Show that they're willing to play that physicality game, which is something in the game up against the Springboks there was lacking just a little bit. But Cody Taylor now to throw this one in. Taking his time. Christoph Ridley saying you're taking about 7 years, mate. The next World Cup's going to be here before the ball gets in. But Smith goes across, short ball, look forward to Rieko Ioane, but he's breaking up the middle of the field. Moving only 15 metres out from the line. They may have to go back to check that one, but first the All Blacks on a hot attack off to Beauden Barrett on the short side. Missed tackle from Galfiku, but the All Blacks only 10 metres out from the French line. Aaron Smith, ball knocked out of his hand, and the penalty goes the way of the All Blacks, slapping it. Staying up, actually, they have given the penalty for the player leaving its feet. The All Blacks take the quick tap. Aaron Smith tackled only 2 metres out from the line, but the French were offside. So now they have got themselves another penalty advantage here for the All Blacks. Will Jordan looking for that one, does have to play halfback, and back Savia is going to take it on now. The All Blacks, Beauden Barrett with the cross kick, goes down. Mark Talia takes the catch, and the All Blacks score in the first 90 seconds. They are fired up and ready for the comp. Talia, his first try in a Rugby World Cup. Is Jaco going to check this one, or is he happy? It seems like he's happy with it. And we have got there, give them a taste. The Kiwi says blue, and with the emphasis live, there is many options all around the world. All you got to do is go on the Rugby World Cup website, and you will be able to see the exact option of where you can watch it, mainly for free, depending on whereabouts you are around the world. But Prime on Amish says Obi, and also I can't wait to see New Zealand in the finals. And if New Zealand make it to the final, South Africa will crush them. Says typical Timothy. And them there as well. Too easy for the All Blacks, says Philip Detoy. Although there may have been a 4 pass around the halfway line for the Kiwis that the referees did not see. But the All Blacks do score 20 seconds past 2 minutes at the moment. It is a quick start, and that is a way to slightly silence the crowd. It is nowhere near as loud now in that stadium as it was just a few moments prior. Man Talia says Floyd Kingy, and New Zealand looking very strong first minute. Well, that attack crushed the French defence, says Ars Robinson. And also Fiji will win this whole thing for real, says Squid. Now Richie Mo'unga to line up this kick. What a start, says Brian. And Mo'unga just drifting away to the left-hand side. So the kick is unsuccessful. But the All Blacks, they have got themselves the 5-0 lead after only the 3 minutes. Like they've mentioned, the pinpoint accurate kick from Beauden Barrett. And oopsie for France early on, says Life Stars here. You can see the disappointment on the face of Damien Pinot. He knows that was possibly one that he had to cover. But now France, with Jalibert, he will kick it high, and France looking to retain this kickoff, but nicely taken by Sam Whitelock inside of the All Blacks 22. Aaron Smith passing it across to the left-hand side off to Dalton Papali, who will be starting at number 7 in this game due to the injury of Sam Cane, but France get themselves the penalty. Julien Mochon over the ball, not releasing, penalty won by the French. And how's it, Hamish? Great start listening in from Bulgaria, says David Dempster. And where to watch, please, says Patricia Sharp. Depending on whereabouts you are in the world will depend on your broadcasting options. The best bet for you will be to look on the Rugby World Cup website, and it will have a list of all of the options of being able to watch depending on what country you're in around the world. And too easy for the All Blacks, says David Gray, and he made the kick. Says Nick, did he? I thought it drifted away to the left just a little bit. I didn't see the referees lift their flag for it. And TB has it 7-0, and not good. You peeps need them kicks, says Original Venom, and also we have got their score as 7-0, says Ars Robinson. Is it? Did that kick go over? I swear I didn't see the touch judges put up their flag, but Richie Moore, I guess, successful kick for the first one of the World Cup, who's playing blindside. So they have actually gone with Tupavai as the blindside flanker. And there Neil says, g'day, says Emma, and they're welcome in. Whereabouts? I think you're still in Greece, maybe, if I'm not wrong. But hello, Neil. Hope you're doing all right. The kick is successful from France, so they take the 3 points. Right, the scoreboard actually still has it 5 points to the All Blacks. So I think it might actually be 5-3. I think the score, there we go. Yeah, the kick was unsuccessful. It didn't look like it went over, to be fair, but everything thought that it had. But now the All Blacks, they will be kicking off. Once again, this game has already had 8 points, and we are only 5 minutes into the fixture. It's kicked off long, nicely taken by Gregory Aldrit, who gives it cross to Dupont. Good. Powerful kick downfield. Mo'unga taking the throw quickly, giving it back to Beauden Barrett. Puts the up and under. Will Jordan chasing after that. That is something that those two have done very well. Oh, it's an ugly fall for Thomas Ramos, but both men went up for the ball, they say, so it is just going to be play on, although the crowd are not happy with it. Going back into the pocket now, back to Jaminet. Or in fact, Jalibert, I should say. Of course, Jalibert starting this match. Jaminet going off the bench. Beauden Barrett now going for the kick again, although this time he has to chase his own. So I don't think Rico Ioane was quite expecting that. Gibbons Villiers taking it near the halfway line. Dalton Babali trying to get in the breakdown. Has lost his footing. Dupont now going across to Ramos. Setting the ball nicely. And France looking to put a few phases together. In fact, they're going to go for the chip behind. Jalibert waiting for the bounce, but it doesn't quite sit up the way that he needed it to. And Cody Taylor will be the man who cleans the ball up for the All Blacks. Although that looks like a French turnover. No, the penalty goes the way of the All Blacks. Come on, says Nathaniel. And there, let's go France, says Yamixo. Are we in Romania? Says Emma. So yeah, of course, Romania playing a little bit later on. Tomorrow morning, I believe it is, up against the Irish, which will be at 1:30 a.m. Amish, good morning. I've been itching for this game, says Daniel Cox. Yeah, it's going to be an entertaining one, and already from the first 6 minutes, we know both sides are bringing the intensity, although the All Blacks, with that penalty, have not been able to find the touchline. Does mean now that France are able to try and relieve that pressure, although they have also not found touch, so now passing it across. Here comes Will Jordan, tries to step through the midfield, tackled in the end by Flamand, as well as Mofana. Beauden Barrett, wide cut out pass. Was it forward? Yes, it was. Just drifted ahead. And that is now going to be a scrum feed for France. And to make a massive loss for France, exactly right. He was a player that a lot of people were looking at as that playmaker for the French. And they've based that combination of Dupont and Intermac for so long that now that it's Jalibert, there's a lot of pressure on that youngster. But if he can get it right, perhaps he can get himself a few more minutes in the future, but the All Black supporters in attendance sound like they weren't too happy with that call, but Beauden Barrett just not quite able to drift that ball backwards enough. Come on. We can do this, says Nathaniel there, and please All Blacks win, says Janine, and I predicted the All Blacks win here, says it was there from Brian. Now, Nepololala into that starting lineup for the All Blacks. Due to the injury of Tyrell Lomax's knee, we knew he was going to be out for this first game. So instead, Lolala gets that big chance, but he's going head-to-head with Reda Wardy. And we've got our first scrum reset of the Rugby World Cup. Going down on the far side between De Groot, as well as Yui Antonio. Early call on Mwanga for player of the tournament, says Sam Steele. It is a big call, but, if the All Blacks are able to get far in this competition, Mwanga will be one of those main reasons in that backline for them being able to do so. Bring back Buck, says that guy Jensen, and go the All Blacks, says David Gray. Currently 7 minutes, in fact 8 minutes now. And does someone know where to watch it for free? The best option is to look on World Rugby's website or the Rugby World Cup website, because it has a list of where you can watch all around the world, rather than like individual countries. It will tell you what you have got. Do you have channel admins, good sirs? Says Original Venom. I do indeed. We've got about 6 or so moderators currently watching, I think, if I'm not wrong. Now, Smith making the tackle on Antoine Dupont, but the ball just sits on the side of France. Ramos now going for the chip and behind again. Mark Talia back to cover. Hasn't taken it cleanly, knocked the ball backwards. So will we play on, but he breaks through one tackle. Now charging up the middle, Mark Talia. Moves to about 30 metres out from the All Blacks line. Smith will go back across the line to Beauden Barrett. Will Jordan will sink it on the left, or in fact the right slipper. Decent distance on it. Jalibert is able to cut it off inside of his 22 and puts the ball downfield into touch. We have got the All Blacks have to either shoe face or be a recluse, because they're ever going to take them out once again. Says rolling down. I think New Zealand is going to win, says Abel. The first 20 minutes is crucial, says Mumbo Jumbo Kiwi. And with the fact that this game is being played in extreme temperatures, about 28 degrees Celsius, I mentioned about it, the players were sweating during the haka. And that heat wave is going to be something that hurts the sides later on in the fixtures. I think we're going to see that for a majority of this World Cup for most teams, though. I'm flying it on Wi-Fi. Can't seem to watch live due to VPN issues. Any tips? Says Patrick. So I'll be honest, I haven't really looked up where to watch it if you are on an aircraft. Mainly because where are you flying to? Maybe once you've flown to that place, they will have a different broadcast to where you were originally. We have got the OK No Probs. I'm enjoying the commentary without chat for a while. Love the commitment, says Original Venom. And also, how many water breaks are they going to take in this heat? I'd say we're probably going to see about 3 or 4 throughout the whole game, maybe even more. If there are injuries, of course, players are going to be trying to get a bit of a drink at any chance that they can. But Cody Taylor now with this line out. Last time it took quite a while for the All Blacks to set it. Now it's going to be back across to the left-hand side. Jalibert going now to Gregory Aldrin. Mofana in the midfield And for Jonathan Dante, please start less, talk more match, says Abel. Well, we had a stoppage and a drinks break. So I guess I could have told you how many litres the players were consuming if that was something you were more interested in. But that's going to be a knock-on from France in the breakdown. Now scrum feed for the All Blacks 40 metres out from their line. I think this early pressure from both of these sides, like the intensity makes me think that the benches are going to be massively impactful for this game. And thanks, bro. Keep it up. Awesome, says Fred Matthews. Thank you very much, mate. Anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We have got plenty more of the Rugby World Cup coming just around the corner. We've got games later on tonight. A points only, thanks, says Fluffy there. They are just showing Pito Malvaca. It looks like the change, or is it? I think Julian Marchand is very close to going off the field with some sort of knee/upper thigh injury. That is not what France want early on in this competition. Malvaca is waiting patiently to see if he's making his way out, but for now they are going to scrummage with Marchand. And also, we have got there what's in the middle of Paris. Says Neris. And also typing and dropping doesn't help if all, says Roland. And also good comeback, Rose, says Blue. Now, Aaron Smith. About to feed the ball in, and the penalty, no, the free kick, goes the way of the All Blacks. Who got the try? It was Mark Talia who managed to score the opening try. In fact, we should probably have that down the bottom, shouldn't we? In terms of who has scored. We'll go like this while we have got another stoppage. All Blacks. Try scorers. And at the moment, it is Mark Talia. Scored in the 2nd minute. There we go. Yep, they're making the change now, ladies and gentlemen. That is a massive hit to France. We have got there, yeah, baby, bring the mongrel, says Sean. And guys, All Blacks are winning, says Alan. They certainly are by 2 points currently, 5 points to 3 after the 11 minutes. But this is a big shame for the French. Not so much that Malvaca is out on the field. He is a fantastic player. But it's a massive shame if Julian Marchand has more of a serious injury than we first anticipated. Any info on the ref? It is Jaco Piper in charge of this one. He's got a huge amount of experience. Will Jordan not able to take that one cleanly, and Vai'i decides to let it roll into touch. Looks like it will be the All Blacks line out now from just inside of the French half. We have got massive South Africans, the physical giants of rugby, the physical giants of rugby, and then likely to, or they liken them to a small antelope. Crazy. To me, they are like Cape Buffalo, huge, powerful man wreckers, says Kernovic. Right, it is from the AR. The assistant referee has seen there was an infringement from the All Blacks, so now France have got themselves the penalty. Now, Jalabert, that one's not finding touch. That has come off the side of the boot. Definitely not how he wanted to strike it. And now Richie Mo'unga this time looking for the touchline, and it does go out. Dupont takes it quickly. Getting it back across to Jalabert. Drives it deep inside of the All Blacks territory. Now Will Jordan, he's got some heavy strapping on that right knee, so hopefully no sort of injury will be popping up for him as well in the early stages of the game. Now Ramos receives the kick, looking for the 50-22. Bowden Barrett is back to cover though, and he is inside of his own 22, so is able to kick this one into touch. He's looking for a 50-22 of his own, but Ramos is back to cover. It's become a game of force back like you play when it's high school lunchtime. And that one's gone into touch. They are just showing there Julian Marchand. He looks like he's in a lot of pain there in the upper thigh region. And also go the All Blacks, says Rupin, and Marchand off. I hope he's okay, says Brian there. And listening to you is stuck with Welsh commentators, says JM. And also, where can I watch for free from South Africa? I know that someone earlier on mentioned where it was, but I can't quite remember what it was. It was like, if it was 4 letters. It wasn't DSTV though. It was SA something something, but I can't quite remember. Hopefully someone from South Africa can help us out. And now it's going to be back across for the All Blacks. This dude won't show us the live game, otherwise he won't make money, says Mass One. Well, it's just more that like broadcasting rights cost about, I'd say, a few $1 million, and I spent all my money on the suit. So I can't afford to pay a few $1 million to show the game. And now Aaron Smith going across to the left-hand side. Stop Barrett now, his first carry of the game. Smith looking to use it to the left-hand side. Bowden Barrett back across there. Vai'i looks for the pass, doesn't find hands, but Will Jordan now does the netball pass out to Mark Talia down the wing, trying to make it very difficult for Damien Pinot out on that wing. Someone who a lot of people anticipate will have a high-scoring competition in terms of those tries. Smith now 40 metres out. Will Jordan goes for the chip, and Jaycee's hit hard by Yui Antonio, but the referee says play on. Ramos kicks it in behind. Beauden Barrett is back to cover. And now does boot it downfield, and that will go into touch inside of French territory. Nice suit though, says Gizzy. And hello, Amy, says Flesh, and welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing very well. And just a suit, jacket, and shirt. Says Gary, yeah, that's true. I couldn't afford to get the pants as well. Lots of kicks, not finding justice side here. Yeah, both sides have actually had a few mistakes early on off the boot. Probably say France have missed touch twice. All Blacks missing it maybe 2 or 3 times as well. Now Pietro Malvaca about to have his first line-out throw. Anyone sent off yet? Not yet. Only Julio Malchamp, but that was sent off for an injury. But they go to the front there. Pietro Malvaca just keeps himself in the field of play and now does the chip and chase. A big man tried a few different skills, but Beauden Barrett, he is going to put that ball down inside of the goal area, so it is a goal line dropout. Malvaca doing extremely well. We have got there New Zealand, says Cyrus. The 50-22 is so underrated, says Fred Matthews. And also we got there perhaps the Grizzlies could be just be grateful for this good commentary, says Crispin. Thank you very much, mate. I'm in South Africa. I want to watch it, or I want to stream it where? So in South Africa, someone mentioned earlier on, it's SABC has got the matches for free in South Africa. It's kicked downfield from the goal line, drop out, now down to halfway. Jalibert goes back across. Here comes Gregory Aldrich driving forward at Sam Whitelock, who has been able to make the tackle low on him. Now Dupont goes to Jalibert, inside ball to Villiers. Tackled by Ethan de Groot. Ball pots free. Sam Whitelock looked to go for the pass, but did end up having it slightly stuck. Aaron Smith, a lot of pressure on him as well. France are all over the ABs, but now somehow the All Blacks are being able to create an opportunity. Mark Talia from inside of his own 22. Breaking through one tackle. Tackled in the end by Jalibert, and there was a knock-on on the ground, which now means that France have got themselves a scrum, but it is certainly fast-paced at this stage. Where can I watch? STFU, says Kirsten. Well, I know that you want to watch it, but it seems that you aren't able to read because someone just put it in the chat, SABC. Free on SABC, but you need electricity, says Jeremy. Will you do the commentary of all the World Cup games? The plan is to do a huge majority of them. Like this weekend, we've got at least 6 games that we will end up covering on the channel. We have got there New Zealand number 11 as a star. Mark Talia looking dangerous. Just lost the ball from Jamanier. And we have got there, in the chat, New Zealand lose please, says ST. Now 17 and a half minutes through, these comments are killing me. It's a struggle for South African, says Casey. But it should be an easier option, shouldn't it? Like, at the end of the day, the world champion should have a free-to-air option that has been, like, I guess, advertised. Like, I don't think the Springboks have shown much on their social medias. I could be wrong, but I feel like there has to be a lot of options to be able to watch them. Oh, my voice is already gone. We're only match 1. France this time win the scrum penalty. Where can I watch free? Says Chris. So the best option is to check the Rugby World Cup website. It will show you all your options. And what's with all the knock-ons lately, says that guy Jensen. I'm going to South Africa with a power bank to find a wife. You'd be a popular man. It looks like France, they will opt to go for the 3 points here, and that will actually give them the lead if this kick is successful. We have got there, not you. To shut up, people should stop asking, says Kirsten. And there, although I think that's just down to the fact that like World Rugby haven't really advertised like where to find the games. Like I know that they've shown where to find the highlights, but they haven't really told anyone where to actually watch the games for free. Please just put the match. I would get sued, unfortunately, Abel, and the people who want me to show the match are not the people who will pay my legal fees. Sadly. Thanks for your commentary. I've got load shedding in South Africa. My power is only going on at 10 p.m. Says Gary there. But now it is Thomas Ramos. After 19 minutes, France will look for another 3 points here. After a few penalties up against the All Blacks are starting to add up. That is something that did happen in the last game up against South Africa. The last time that these two sides played, we saw 65 points combined between them. So feel like there are a few tries just around the corner. Of course, this game a lot more hot than it was last time. Ramos gets the kick over, though, and that will now make the score 6 points to 5 for the first time of this Rugby World Cup. The French do take the lead over the All Blacks. SABC will only show South Africa games for free, not the rest, says Gen V. Oh, see, that is something I hadn't heard, that it was only certain games that they were showing. But you'll need the master of commentary. Otherwise, you're stuck with the Welsh language. Yeah. Now, it's going to be nicely run forward from Gregory Aldrit. Sitting 20 metres out from the line. Dupont will be looking to take this back inside of his 22, so the kick will not be able to find touch on the full, but it's kicked high from Antoine Dupont. Nicely taken by Richie Mo'unga. It goes across to Bowden Barrett, the two playmakers in the back line. For the All Blacks, it's kicked high again from Bowden. Looking to get Will Jordan after it, but wasn't quite able to get there, but makes the tackle on the French number 12, Mofana. Now Dupont looks to go for the boot off the right himself. It's a good kick, but well retreated by Richie Mo'unga to get back in time to be able to cut it off. Now kicked high, up and under. I mentioned in my preview that I thought it would be a relatively early kicking game between these two, trying to put the other team inside of their own territory. Gregory Aldrit, good low tackle made on him by Scott Barrett. Now Ramos plays half, goes off to the big man Flamand and number 5, although not quite as big as Paul Valimza, the man who was injured. Now Molvaka falls into the tackle of the ABs on the halfway line. Dupont going back across to the right-hand side. Cameron Walkie hits the ball up. Look for the offload. It was risky and the ball has been booted forward now by France. Mark Talia picks it up. Will go for the kick of his own. Looking for the 50-22. It's a knock-on from France. And Ramos just outside of his own 22. We have got a donation from France Smith. Les Bleus. Thank you very much, mate. Usually appreciated for that donation. The crowd are booing this one. I think that they feel that they may have seen something in this case, maybe it going backwards. We have got there from Johan, have a brain of sorts. Yes, that would make it very tricky to do these live streams without a brain. And give him a taste of Kiwi, says Blue. And low tackle by Scott Barrett, says Floyd King. It was, yeah, he's decided to tackle a bit below the head for this one. And come on, France, says Genève. And also we have got there France 14 Ren, says Jeremy. And there as well. Now 22 minutes in, France have had 40% of possession. New Zealand, they have had a little bit of an advantage in that department, having the 60% throughout the first 22 minutes. But now they have got themselves a scrum about 25 metres out from France's line. This is where this back line of Will Jordan in the midfield, Anton Leonard-Brown, I don't know if we've seen him so far throughout this match, other than maybe one carry, but the French national anthem is now ringing around Stade de France. Kerr is sad. And there's, what has happened, Kerr? Because Roof doesn't need a power bank. I do see nice run forward from Bowden Barrett. Now 15 metres out, Smith, short ball to Savia. Now Mo'unga tries to step through his opposite number, Jalibert, moving to 10 metres from the line. The All Blacks, they look to go to the right-hand side after Dalton Papali. The late inclusion at number 7 was initially going to be starting at 6. Now Scott Barrett drives to only 2 metres out. That was a diving tackle from Savia off the ball in the breakdown. That may get him into trouble, but first they are going to be once again allowing things to play out. Savia now looking to go to the right-hand side, only 2 metres out from the line. Now it was Ethan de Groot who is waiting for it on this left-hand side, the Southland Stags boy. Now 2 metres, once again Savia moves within inches of the try line. Smith, he's got Will Jordan lurking just behind the breakdown. They look to shift it left though. Round the side, pick and go again from the big forwards for the ABs. Now Aaron Smith goes back to Tupavai, the advantage in favour of New Zealand now. This means that they can throw absolutely everything into this, although they go short to Scott Barrett. He's been held up over the line, but they have been able to get that ball back. There was a knock-on, they call, and it will go back for the initial penalty to the All Blacks. Savia considers taking the quick tap, but instead I believe that they will go for the scrum again. We have got the donation from Kirsten, and there as well, a super sticker from South African land. Thank you very much, hugely appreciated. And you guys have been very generous at the start of this World Cup. Everyone has been hitting that button, which is very hugely appreciated, of course. And we've got plenty more Rugby World Cup action coming just around the corner. Not easy to leave South Africa. Our blood is red like the sand, says Elementonics. Oh, Elementonics, I think that is. Okay, the All Blacks decide to take on the 3 points here. Now, that is something that is very strategic from the All Blacks. They easily could have decided to go for that scrum or maybe for that line out, but they've decided in this case, taking the lead back is the much more important factor. So that is what Richie Mo'unga will be looking to do. Go New Zealand, but it's a hard game, says Trisha. Yeah, this game is going to be absolutely down to the wire. I would say like someone's going to win it after 75 minutes. You're the only legend that has good commentary, says JM. Thank you very much, mate. And Go New Zealand, says Lesiila, or Lesiili, I should say. And always take the points, says CK. Definitely in the Rugby World Cup as well. If this was a warm-up game, the All Blacks would have looked to go for the corner, but Mo'unga has got that kick over, and now New Zealand take the lead back, sitting 8 points to 6. What has been a very close first 25 minutes, and they are just speaking about it. They are now having a water break. So that is something we will see throughout this Rugby World Cup for sides. Definitely with the heat that we have got after 25 minutes. We've seen more possession for the All Blacks. We've seen just a little bit less for the French, but I would say that territory-wise, France haven't been too bad overall. They have been able to force the All Blacks back, but it seems to be that last kick in the kicking battle that has helped out the All Blacks drastically. So yeah, I'm curious to see whether or not that kicking does continue. I'm just looking at the betting odds at the moment for what this game sits at. And New Zealand, they are $1.65 favourites compared to the $2.25 that France are. So I believe that New Zealand, after that first try, would have been a little bit lower. But now they've gone back up. I have Biltong, DSTV and UPS, or UPS. In South Africa, life is good, says Albert. And also, let's go All Blacks, says DazX. They are just showing that first break and run from Rieko Ioane. That was within the first 2 minutes of the game. He received that short pass from Anton Leonard-Brown. And then just pinned the ears back, but Pinot was back ready to have to cover. And then the cross kick from Bowden Barrett out to Mark Talia was an awkward bouncing one. So Talia's done very well to be able to handle that one. I cannot imagine the pressure on France to win by the home crowd, says Patricia Black. And I feel like that is something that some people see, like there's positives and negatives in terms of hosting a World Cup and playing in the opening game. The positives that you've got is the whole crowd pretty much are behind you. The disadvantage you've got is that whole crowd expect you to go out there and win easily. And that just wasn't quite going to be the case in this game. It was going to be a scrappy one right down to the wire. I love the live commentary. I'm making sure my cell has been charged with Wi-Fi. South Africa fan, go the All Blacks, says B. Goldberg. So far we have seen 2 missed tackles from New Zealand, making 20. 46 tackles made from the French, missing 17. So that has been the big difference maker, the amount of missed tackles that France have had. It's kicked high now by Jalibert to get us back underway. And it's not taken cleanly by Sam Whitelock. And it's actually a penalty, or in fact a free kick for the All Blacks for the kicker being in front. Yeah, man in front of the kicker, Gregory Eldred. That is a big mistake. Oh no. It was actually the kicker was in front. Took it from inside of the All Blacks half, so we're going back for the scrum. That is something that isn't normally policed too heavily. I know that we've seen it a little bit in the 7s. 13 minutes and my power is out. Damn it like a river, says Elementonics. And how long do you study player names? I don't know who is who frequently or fluently, says JM. We have been doing commentary on the channel for the past about 3 and a bit years. So throughout that time at the start, I was very rough. Like if we do some of those other Rugby World Cup teams, such as let's say Namibia or Chile, I will be back in that same boat of struggling. But you slowly start to learn who the players are, and the pronunciations, they're a little bit tricky at the start as well. Now France have conceded a scrum on the halfway line. Pedantic penalty, says Floyd King. Yeah, like I said, not something they normally look for. That is something that needs to be policed more, says Kerr as well. But the All Blacks, they have already given away a scrum penalty. In this case, though, on the halfway line, they have got themselves the feed. And Aaron Smith now about to feed that ball in for the ABs. It's gone in nicely. The All Blacks starting to march forward a little bit, but the feet did slip out of Ethan de Groot, and once again, the All Blacks have conceded a penalty at scrum time. Looking smart there, Butter. Go Blackie, says Pete. And also we have got there, you're going to have to draft in George. I think that was from Mama Jumbo. If your voice is going heavy, that is true. I think George is coming around for one of these games in the first round if he's not working. I think that's going to be England-Argentina. Which pack is looking the stronger in the scrum? 100% France. They have won themselves a penalty with the feed, and also they have won themselves against the feed a penalty. I can't wait to listen to you pronounce South African names on Sunday, says Zolani. The only one that really I can't get right is Kurtley Arendse. I always say it wrong and it annoys me. AB should have gone for the try, says 123 MS, although now France from halfway will be looking to get themselves another 3 points. This game at the moment, it's a battle with penalties. One side concedes, the other team takes the 3, then the other side concedes, and the other team takes the 3. And that is a good kick from Ramos. Now making the score 9 points to 8 in favour of the French. The Dark Knights will beat the Smurfs, says Elementonics. I have French Huguenot in my family, so I sought France always over the AB, says Alistair. And go the All Blacks, says Poulet. And also my missus is even listening. Thanks, you're doing a great job. Keep it up, bro, says Oka. Thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciate it. And like I mentioned, we have got plenty of Rugby World Cup live streams coming up in the near future. So anyone who is new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Nice run from Gregory Aldrit. Moves it up to 20 metres out from France's line. But Dupont is looking to now feed this ball back. Ball, put it off the right boot. Looking for the touchline. And once again, a very good kick from Dupont. But New Zealand decide to take it quickly again. It's going to be kicked high by Bowden Barrett. Chasing after this one. Goes up for it. Is able to take it, but has fallen awkwardly. Manages to find the offload to Artie Savia, who will now go for the kick of his own. Villiers is back for France to take it close to that touchline. Rico Ioane knew he was going towards the side and manages to get there. Counter-ruck from the All Blacks. Smith now across to Papa Lee. Whitelock to Barrett, who hesitated with going wide because the French defence was rushing up. Now off to the left. Anton Leonard-Brown goes across to Bowden Barrett. Richie Mo'unga breaks the line, finds the offload to Mark Talia, who tries to break over the top of Galfiku, but he has been dragged down. Bowden Barrett back across now to Ethan Negru. Oh, he's dropped the ball. He's run straight at one of the French players. I believe it was... Who was that? Who was that French player? I think it might have actually been Cruz. Now it's kicked in behind by France. The ball may just stay in the field of play. Bowden Barrett has to get back and regather. But tell you what, this game is being played at a pace that I don't think they'll be able to match for 80 minutes, but it does seem like there is a chance that they will be able to. But now it is a line out for France. Dupont, he's trying to show off that masterclass that we know that he can. I was just looking to get a drink, and they just kept on playing for about 2 minutes straight. Now Pietro Malvaca. Have to throw this ball in now. France don't seem to know how many numbers they want. Okay, France are going to add an extra man, going to the 6-man line out now. We have got there De Groot is having a shocker, says JDB. Yeah, he's been a little bit rough throughout the early stages of this one. Now Malvaca. We are ready for this line out, and they are currently in a pretty dangerous position on the field here. France about 32 metres out from the AB's line, nicely taken by Cameron Walkie, and they look to get this rolling maul going, which is well set and is now marching towards the All Blacks 22. Malvaca still in play, manages to manipulate it to go a little bit more inwards, although the All Blacks slowly trying to push it towards that touchline. France use it off the back with Dupont. Now goes off to Mofana. Low tackle in by Dalton Papali, but the All Blacks, they are under pressure. The way that France are able to attack. Now Gregory Aldrit. In fact, it's going to be Francois Cruz this time having the run. Dupont goes short side off to the right. Mofana. Ball popped up to Galfiku. Mo'unga gets him around the bootlaces. In fact, it was Smith. And the steal, it's almost good from the ABs. Whitelock tries to get it, but it will be the penalty to France. I believe there was a player in the breakdown. Didn't roll away, and usually got Groot to full hands. Says Fluffy there. Whitelock penalised for being off his feet. 8 minutes away from halftime, and I believe France will once again look to add those 3 points. It looks like might be Yui Antonio just getting a little bit of water to the back of the neck there. Hopefully nothing too serious. They've already lost one of the front men. Do you have hands, says Kyle. I do. I choose not to use them at times, though. Here they are. They're down there. Looking for a stream, says Comic. If you go on the Rugby World Cup app or the Rugby World Cup website, you will be able to see whereabouts you can watch it depending on what country you're in. They're going to be blowing soon in that heat, says Gizzy. Yeah, I'm surprised that they've been able to match this tempo for the first 33 minutes of this game, mainly because it is extremely hot, about 28 degrees Celsius there. The ref is defeating New Zealand at the moment, says Krampus, although there's been a few penalties against both sides here. I think New Zealand, they are just a little bit more likely to infringe at the moment because, yeah, something about the breakdown for them has been a little bit shaky. And All Blacks playing the ball on the ground, says Albert there, and also we have got their ABs or All Blacks rule, and wrong penalty, says Mark, and New Zealand looking sharp, just need to be patient, says JDB, and you're fine, mate, says Mark Alderton. Now Ramos to line up the kick again, and he's actually missed it. That is something you do not see very often from Thomas Ramos. The All Blacks have been penalised 5 times, 4 of them. France have opted to go for the kick. Too many mistakes, says that guy Jensen. Don't underestimate France, says B. Versta. Exactly right. I feel like this game, it's always going to be going down to the wire. My prediction was 25 points to 22. And it's looking like it could set up that way. And Mark, if only you knew that what mate means in South Africa, says Elementonics. And also we're going to know the All Blacks, come on, you can do it, although there's a little bit of looseness with that ball at the back for the All Blacks inside of their 22. Mo'unga runs it forward, puts the ball into touch about 43 metres out from the All Blacks line, but there is plenty of pressure being applied by France currently on attack. What's the penalty count? 5 against New Zealand, I believe about 3 or 4 against France. And nobody is playing well. I don't think either of these teams can take the World Cup. Says everyone, I think it's a bit early to decide on it. To be honest, like, yes, they might be having a few little shaky moments, but that's kind of what these group stage matches are for, so that you can find improvements so that when you get to those quarterfinals, you're a whole different beast. But now Villiers at the back, trying to break through. Well, Jordan Papali grabs him by the ribcage and says, you're going down to the ground, son. Now Galfiku playing halfback, going off to the left-hand side. Nice attacking run forward there from the number 7, Charles Olivon. And Dupont will once again roll the ball back for another box kick. Ramos missing as a once-in-a-lifetime. True, he doesn't normally miss too many. I know he had 100% accuracy in another tour, about 15 from 15 or somewhere along those lines. Now Beauden Barrett looks to run it forward. Tackled by Gregory Aldred. Smith decides to go to the right. Scott Barrett straightens with his run. Shows a bit of the pace that we know that he's got. Round the side of the breakdown with the pick and go there. It's going to be Nepo Lulala. Good carry from him. And in fact, one of his first of the contest. Now Smith back to it was Tupovai after Rico Ioane. Not able to get through the tackle attempt of Mofana. Mark Talia with the pick and go. That is something we see him do for the Blues often, although this time it has cost the All Blacks the ball. They didn't have the forwards there to protect it. Damien Pinot running sideways. Barrett decides that he is going to stop him now. Ramos taking it back inside of his 22. Kicks it down the middle of the field. And Beauden Barrett is back waiting and ready to put this ball into touch from inside of the 22. These sides are showing pure pace at the moment, and we were waiting for them to slow down, but it doesn't seem like they have yet. It looks like Gregory Aldred, a little bit of an injury here on one of his shoulders, so he has stayed down. If only know how real rugby is played, their football stats wear shoulder pads and helmet, says Roland. It's different sports though, isn't it? Like, I wouldn't wear a helmet playing golf, but in some cases you need one. I don't know if my standards are really low because I'm an England supporter, but I don't think they're playing poorly, says Jonesy. No, I think it's been a very good game so far between these two sides. Yes, there's been a few handling errors in there, but I think that's just due to the pressure that the opposition are also offering. Now, Pietro Malvaca about to have this line-out throw. 36.5 minutes through currently. We can hear the French crowd once again trying to get behind their side. Nicely taken by Cameron Walkie. I'm watching the match just here for some commentary, says JDB. And that's the thing, even for those ones who do have the actual coverage available, if you just want someone to chat to about the match, be sure to pop in throughout this Rugby World Cup because we will be here talking all about those games. Beauden Barrett, again inside of the 22. Big boot this time. Beautiful kick from Beauden Barrett. But Ramos takes it quickly now, looking for a big boot of his own. Goes down to Richie Mo'unga inside of the AB's 22. Like they're talking about, a lot of kicking in this game. Massive boot from Richie Mo'unga. Again, it seems like both sides are starting to find their angle when it comes to putting that ball into touch. Can be massively useful as well. Seeing as both sides were messing up the kicks a little bit near the start of the game, not quite finding touch. We have got there as well, our World Cup should be on TV AB, not enough supporters, TVNZ not live, says Nofo. So I believe, I know there was another option in New Zealand to watch these games for free. Is it on the TAB? No, they don't have it on the TAB, but France actually come in as slight favourites now for anyone wondering about the betting odds. Now, France retaining their line out. Again, it will be the superstar Antoine Dupont to put the ball to the back of the breakdown and put it high. Villiers chasing after it, nicely taken by Richie Mo'unga, goes across to Beauden Barrett. It's a combination the All Blacks have used throughout 2023. Has been relatively effective. Now Mark Talia charges at the line at Charles Olivon. Smith back across to the left. Now Savia goes to Mo'unga. Now there's space on the outside. Can he find the wide pass? He certainly can. Goes off to Dalton Papali, who pins his ears back and drives up to 20 metres out the line. Now Smith going to the right-hand side, but the All Blacks on hot attack just before the halftime break, and I'm not talking about the 28-degree weather. Now Whitelock, the veteran for the ABs, now the other Crusaders lock Scott Barrett. Smith off to the left-hand side. Anton Leonard-Brown goes to Beauden Barrett, who tries to get through. Francois Cruz ineffectively. Brilliant low tackle made on Will Jordan by Reda Wardy. Textbook tackle. Normally it is when you're trying to tackle a prop, you go around the bootlaces, but that time it was the prop who used that technique. Smith, 10 metres out from the line. Artie Savia, the skipper, drops his head, makes a couple extra metres. Now Smith again going to the left-hand side. Cody Taylor passes the ball straight into touch. He wanted Christoph Ridley, the touch judge, to have a crack at the line. That'll be now a line-out throw for France with only 10, or no, a little bit longer than 10, about 30 seconds remaining by the time this ball goes in. You speak well, and I give you props, brother. Well done. Here to support your brother, says Roland. Thank you very much, mate. And we have also got the thank you, Kiwi lad. I'll be back the next time my power is out, says Johan. And also up to Waz, says Ace. Yeah, they've got a big game later on today up against the Penrith Panthers. Malvaka goes to the back. I thought for a second that Va'i was going to be all over it, but now with 20 seconds, looks like Dupont will take his time. They can get away with it here, France. He's being told to use it. They realise now that they have to use one or two more forward phases to get it to the half time. So Mofana hits the ball up. No hands allowed there. Now Dupont waits. And that is going to be 40 minutes. Ramos kicks it dead. And that will be half time in this game, ladies and gentlemen. 9 points to 8. And that is quite a close first half, ladies and gents. I don't think many people expected anything different, though, from these two sides in this opening fixture. We knew it was going to be close. France getting themselves the 3 penalties over, and for New Zealand scoring that early try of Mark Talia in the second minute. But that was the only try that we have seen up till this stage. Long-term weather show heatwave will win Monday, and then the cool wet autumn weather starts finally, says Albert. And also it's Lekker speaking South African in a foreign match, says Elementonics. I wish I could see the footage, but good to hear your commentary. Thanks, says the Cruising Kiwis. Yeah, I wish there was a way that we were able to show it, that it wasn't like illegal. But yeah, hopefully in the future, one day, we will be able to show some match footage. But so far this game has been, it's been intense, you know. I feel like there hasn't been really many times that you're able to take a breath. You just got to sit here and just enjoy the atmosphere of Stade de France. We have got there as well from Simran Sadler. He said such passion while commentating makes me excited about the rugby. Says Simran. So it is awesome to have you here. 8 a.m. here in New Zealand, of course. Nice early morning start for us here in Kiwi land. And we've got plenty more late nights coming up, ladies and gentlemen, over the weekend, including these games. As you can see, this game, 7:15 a.m., it's a nicer time for us here in New Zealand. We've got 11 p.m., 1:30 a.m., 4 a.m., England versus Argentina. That's going to be a very good game, I believe. These other two, it's a little bit tricky to tell. I think Ireland, I needed to use that hand. Ireland are going to probably get themselves a comfortable win. This game could go down to the wire if Georgia are able to bring that physicality in the forwards early on in the fixture. But England, Argentina, it's a pick'em game, and it is going to be an absolutely awesome one to watch. Then we've got on the last day of round one, South Africa taking on Scotland. That game has been a large talking point for quite a bit of time. And then Wales taking on the Fijians. And the big question is, how will Tite Teller go at number 10, seeing as Muntz is no longer available? We've got 4 a.m. here from someone. Where did that go? The chat is going very quick, so I do apologise if I am missing a lot of messages. In Malaysia, it is 4 a.m. We have got there as well, very cagey from France. There's Power Bite, New Zealand are creaking, says Kieran. And also, I believe we can agree, a tad underwhelming from both teams, says Gary Smith. I think it was to be expected, though, because neither side is going to take a huge risk. At the end of the day, they know that this is one of those matches that more than likely will determine the quarterfinals in terms of who will be staying at number 1 and who will be at number 2. So I believe that from that, it meant that both sides had a little bit of hesitancy. Yes, we've seen quite a bit of kicking throughout this first half, but I still feel like we've seen some great moments. France have been strong when they've been using their forwards, getting around their halfway line. And then New Zealand, they've had a couple line breaks, which has added a bit more excitement to it. We have got a new member on the channel. It is Shaney Bailey. Thank you very much for hitting that membership button. You now have access to the exclusive emojis that we have got on the channel, including one of my face going, because I was very confused at when the picture was being taken. Assuming South Africa get past Scotland, says Jonesy. True. And that group, I think it's going to be a very exciting one. Does it not show the game? Does it not show the game? Sadly, me as an it does not show the game, no. We have got there, you can play it, but reverse the image, says Zachary. Although copyright, they've got a bit fancy, you know. They've started working out that kind of thing. It's like wearing the sunglasses. They know about that too. And also we have got there 8 a.m. in Christchurch, says Pete. What time is it there, says Kyle Thomas. So it is actually currently 8:06 a.m. So this game is one of the nicer times that we have got. We started the live stream at around that 6 a.m. mark. We've had plenty of build-up. Thanks for your commentary. You appreciate it. In South Africa, says Susan. Thank you very much. Hugely appreciated. And also, how many cricket lovers here? Please reply, says Master. I am one of those cricket lover. We've done quite a bit of cricket on the channel in the past as well. We've also got the donation from Brian with the TRY super sticker. The Turkish. It's not a Turkish dollar. It's a Turkish something, isn't it? A Turkish thing. And Vive la France, says Eben there. I've got my time written down somewhere, says Fluffy. And also we have got there 10 p.m. in South Africa, says Donovan. Yeah, some of the games are actually relatively late in South Africa as well, aren't they? And 3:08 a.m. in Northern Thailand, I should say, from Gaz. And also All Blacks keep their cool, disciplined South Africa fans, says B. Goldbergs. Yeah, see, that first half, I feel like there was a lot of talking points in terms of the way that both of the sides played. All Blacks, their discipline was a little bit rough at times, but then saying that, on attack, they still looked like they had some dangerous plays just around the corner. They are just showing. I think that first pass from Anton Leonard-Brown to Rieko Ioane may have been slightly forward. That helped lead to the All Blacks' first try, but it was the only try that we saw of the first half. The only other points that came throughout that 40 minutes was when there were 3-pointers taken for the penalties. Give this comment a shout out right now, says Alice Sapphire in all capitals. There you go. We have got 8 o'clock bet, says Eric. And also we have got there 10 p.m. in Sweden. First time I got to watch rugby with Swedish commentators, says Aiko there. Vive la France, but a Springbok all the way, says Live Life. So yeah, there's quite a few exciting games coming up just around the corner. Springboks versus Scotland, England versus Argentina, Wales, Fiji, New Zealand. They had 57% possession in the first half. What is your OnlyFans? Says Kyle. I haven't got one at this stage, although, to be honest, you're not the first person to ask. Someone wanted me and one of my friends to get covered in butter and have a bit of a wrestle. That's a true story. So I don't think it's coming anytime soon, I'll be honest. It's like, yeah, it's probably not my forte. I suck at wrestling. I don't mind butter though. And how is the officiating this far, says Yako? It's been decent overall. Like, I think it's been, both sides have been refereed fairly, which is exactly what you need in a Rugby World Cup. You want a little bit of consistency between them. Give you an idea how warm it is. I'm sitting here in Ireland in my underwear, watching the game, says Kevin. And also we have got there, Hamish, don't tell people my secret desires. Come on, guys and gals, smash that like button, says Marco. Yeah, anyone who hasn't already, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We have got plenty more Rugby World Cup action coming just around the corner, whether that's reviews, whether it is going to be previews, lineup videos, and also the live streams throughout the rest of the week. This game is on, says Kevin. It certainly is. And to be honest, with only 1 point difference between the two sides, it could easily go either way. Sucks that Fox Sports no longer has Rugby World Cup games shown here in Australia, says Master Race. So do you have any free options in Australia, Master Ray? Do let me know. And will we see all the matches here on the live stream? Kiwi, says Darius. That is the plan. Although tonight, I know that the vocal cords are definitely going to be tested because there is going to be about, I think it's like 9 hours of live commentary that we're going to be doing. Brought a subscription service for the World Cup, says Florida. That is actually also another option. I think in Sky New Zealand's package, you can actually get it for about $90 for the whole of the Rugby World Cup competition, which can be a little bit pricey, but if you watch all of the games, it works out to be just a little bit less than $2 per match. They are just talking about it, how the All Blacks have had plenty of opportunities to score. They just haven't quite been able to do it more than the once. And Mark Talia's try, it was a very successful one at the start. Cross kick from Bowden Barrett. So perhaps the All Blacks, if they are willing to take that risk, go for a few more unorthodox plays, that may be actually where they do catch this French defence out. And for France, I believe it's just about putting together a few more phases. We have got there the chat, Hamish, I got Stan Sports due to your recommendation. It works well through a VPN, even all the way through for South Africa. But man, I struggle to get it playing on my TV through VPN, says JP. Yeah, I think it's on devices it seems to work all right. TVs seem to be a bit weird in terms of they take a lot more effort into the VPN, or they take a lot more connection or something along those lines. I just watched the first half on ITV, says Prince Michael Charming, and have a Steinlager, says Dawson Ben. And there as well. Come on, the All Blacks. And great commentary, Hamish. Close my eyes and I'm there, says Jane. And yeah, there's an electric crowd for this match. We could hear them singing the French national anthem at time, also trying to back their side and will them over the try line. Is that the live score, says Atomic? It is indeed. So halftime in this one, 9 points to 8, sitting just in favour of France by that 1 point. They have been able to get 3 penalties over, although they did miss one, which is slightly concerning for the French, mainly because Ramos normally kicks at 100% every day of the week. You know, the All Blacks like making a comeback in the second half. We like giving competition benefit of the doubt, says Amara. And also, bro, miss your name, says Roland. So it is Hamish, which isn't actually probably a popular name in quite a few locations, I've learned. We have got there from UN, this girl put on makeup while listening to this. Thanks for this. I appreciate it. Go New Zealand, says UN. I've noticed for some reason this side, I don't know whether you guys have seen it. Why does it look like I've got like a line of like mascara or something across the top? It seems to look like my eyelid is black. But I don't think it is. No, it's not. It's just, it looks like I've like dipped my head in a paint bucket or something, which I'm sure isn't what your makeup looks like. You and I'm sure it looks very nice. Anita Colonic, so nervy, says Distracted Sports. But Linton, thank you very much for becoming a channel member as well, mate. Hugely appreciated. We have got there Talia looking promising. Yeah, he's looked pretty solid throughout this first half. And watching from Afghanistan, go the All Blacks, says Mega Big. We'll call you Mega as your name, I guess. And just lighting an angle, says Bystander. And also we have got there are fans here in Afghanistan, says Mega. And also we have got there, didn't you cook George his ease, brother Hamish, says Marco. No, but one day after doing a rugby live stream, we actually ended up, we cooked a steak, which was a very fun time. We have got there, you look great, says Jacqueline. And also we have got there, you look fine, mate, says Mark. And too much hotties here, says Vernon. Love it, Hamish. Well done, brother. But the second half is just around the corner, ladies and gentlemen. Teams are just doing their last-minute preparations before getting back out there for an intense second 40 minutes. I believe that this game, I mentioned it being 25 points to 22 as my prediction. This one, I think, could be very close to that. Because I see the All Blacks once again trying to start quick in the second half. They'll feel like they've found that second wind. France will look to just add those points on anytime that they can. And then alongside that, kick it for the corner. Look to try and put the pressure on if the penalty is too far out. We have got there France to win, says Takanda. And also we have got there, no, you look fabulous, says UN. Thank you very much. Although this collar, I noticed it before. I have 2 collared shirts. This collar looks huge compared to the other one. But I don't know why. I think it's just, you know, just the size of the collar, I guess. I forgot what I was going to say there. I kind of went down a sidetrack. I think it's because the second half, I know it's going to be right on the edge of the seat kind of stuff, right down to the wire. Heat is a huge factor, exactly right. These two sides, I don't believe they'll be able to keep the tempo that they played with in the first half. Because if they did, like, they can't do it. They would play at a hugely fast pace. I rest your voice at halftime, mate. You'll sound like Marge Simpson's sister by the end of the World Cup. Yeah, I'm worried that my voice, I think by about round 3, will start to disappear a little bit. So I have to make sure I'm drinking plenty of water, keeping the voice slightly working. Looking good for the girls, Hamish. Says Ollie is the best. Although I think our audience is about 99% male. So I guess it's for the 1%, isn't it? Some regards. When is the second half starting, says Olani? About 2 minutes away, I would say. We're just getting a couple of ads here in New Zealand, and then we'll be straight back in to the rugby action. All Blacks need the forward push. Backline need the space. And also, yes, very good looking in his suit and tie, says Simran there. Thank you very much. I'm going to turn red. Cricket is bigger than rugby, says Master. It may be, but this is the Rugby World Cup rather than the cricket one. The cricket one in about a month's time. How was the haka? It looked like they were relatively fired up. Of course, a little bit of a last-minute change because of the fact that Sam Cane is out with his injury. So instead it's Artie Savia who got to stand at the front of the haka. A shout out to the men in the chat, says K-Das. Shout out to everyone in the chat. How about that? We've got people from all different countries around the world. In fact, that is what we will ask just before we get to the second half, ladies and gentlemen. Whereabouts are you watching the game from? Ryan is not happy. What the F? I want to watch the game. Well, the best bet is to go on World Rugby's website. You'll be able to see a list of everywhere that you can watch the game depending on what country you're in, because you could be in like Uzbekistan, and in that case, I don't have your provider in my mind off the top of my head. So you got to make sure you're looking at that website. You'll find out where you can watch it. This guy's a jackass, says Ryan. You're looking in a mirror. Ireland watching from Istanbul, says Brian there in Cambodia, says Jordan there as well. And the All Blacks says Trevor, I'm way too hot. Be a slow game, says Gerard. Yeah, they got to slow down compared to that first half, or else they will completely gas themselves out. And I guess as we get closer to the end of the game, of course, injuries start to become a little bit more impactful. Nice place for some quiet reflection, says Eric there, and Bok says Altus. And there as well, we have got there how much time for the next half. They are now just showing us our last ad, and the two sides are about to make their way back out onto the field, ladies and gentlemen. We have got there Zimbabwe, says Misha. And also we have got there cricket is bigger than, once again, Cricket World Cup just around the corner, 7-1. Is that going to be the split off the bench again? It worked last time for the Springboks, getting themselves a historic win over the ABs. We have got there, where can I stream, says David Henderson. So yeah, if you go on the Rugby World Cup website, it will give you the list of all the options that you can watch the game at. How's the referee's performance? I think he's been solid enough. Yako Piper. We have got all the girls are probably from New Zealand, says UN. I know we've got a couple South African viewers that are female. Ruth is one that comes to mind, who's been on quite a few of the live streams before. We've also got, I need to remember the name, and it's going to annoy me. She was in the chat before as well. Oh, I feel bad. Jacqueline. I think it was Jacqueline, if I'm not wrong. I've got there from Kerr a little bit earlier on, looking good, so you can turn some of the 99% audience. But the second half now, ladies and gentlemen, is back underway. Jacqueline, I know it was something starting with a J, but I couldn't remember if it was Jackie or a bit longer. But now France have been able to retain their own kickoff here in the second half. Cameron Walkie now charging forward at the line. Artie Savia tries to get over the ball, but does end up losing his footing. Ria Wardy, big fend. Enrique Ioane, Will Jordan, he's broken through his tackle as well. Ioane gets him down in the end. France looking aggressive in the start of the second half. Ramos going across to Charles Olivon. Dupont again. Going to Ramos, goes to back to Yui Antonio Jalibert. It's a rough pass and it has found the turf, but now Damien Pinot has been able to pick it up. Anton Linder-Brown not quite quick enough to be able to clean up that tackle. Running sideways. Damien Pinot, I think, has spent more time running sideways in this game than forward, but it's helped out France here as now Olivon once again gets himself another chance round the side of the breakdown. Here comes Gregory Aldrin, finds the offload to Antoine Dupont, 10 metres out from the line now for the home side. Ramos stuck behind the breakdown, tries to step through. Rico Ioane makes the tackle on him. Artie Savia tries to get the ball, isn't able to do so, and the advantage goes the way of Le Bleu. And the penalty, no, it's gone the way of the All Blacks. They've saved side entry from France. And the crowd, they will not be happy with that one bit because they were very close to getting themselves the first try of the Rugby World Cup. But in through the side penalty against France, I thought it was initially going to be Artie Savia who was penalised. Roast beef, says Hugo Diaz. Exactly right. And also we have got there go the mighty All Blacks. Says amazing one and watching from Nigeria, but I love cricket. Says Master in there. New Zealand are not the same anymore, says Cuzzy. And a £5 super sticker from Mumbo Jumbo Kiwi. And there's a thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciated. But Ramos almost able to break through. But it's the clean out from Francois Cruz. Came in through the side. Got himself penalised. Nicely claimed by Scott Barrett at line out time now for the All Blacks. Chip and chase from Artie Savia. Slightly dragged back was Will Jordan, but he doesn't care. Still managed to get there in time. Now France looking for the counter ruck. Not able to do so. Bazza goes across now. Waikato pass on Rico Ioane. Bounces up to Mark Talia for the corner. And the All Blacks, they'll check that last pass. I should mention Bazza was Scott Barrett. I realised that there were two Barretts on the field. So Bazza doesn't tell you anything. But Mark Talia, his second try now of the Rugby World Cup in this first game of the competition. And we're only a few minutes into the second half as well. He seems to like scoring right at the start of a half. Oh, Mark Talia, but Will Jordan was able to still chase down that chip from Artie Savia, then sending it wide out to the left. Rico Ioane gets it out to Talia. £5, that's a heavy sticker, says Neris. And there as well, watching from Nigeria, but I love cricket, says Master. And could be 4 pass, says Gerard. I think the crowd want them to check it, see whether or not it did travel back or not. But has been allowed by Jaco Piper. And the New Zealand winger is absolute class, says Robinson there. And wow, says Brian. But the All Blacks, they go from almost conceding down the other end of the field to being able to score. But once again, early on in the half, France becomes susceptible to conceding. And I mentioned about it before the match. I said that in all of their last 4 games, they've conceded at least 17 points. I'll be a female if you read my comments, says Trademasters360. And we have got there, not even missing the broadcast right now. Thanks, mate. Says Ian, and the kick from Moonga just away to the right. The score will remain at 13 points to 9. There was a nervous sigh there from Richie McCaw when that kick missed. I'm a proud Kiwi supporter from South Africa, says Amara. And get the penalties down, New Zealand. The crowd have just seen it from a different angle. And that looked pretty forward to me. Or at least the crowd. It was, it's a tricky one. Too much alcohol. You must drink, please, says Roland. And also we have got there, that was so forward, says JM and Talia for the hat trick, says DJ. And now he's in a very decent position to be able to do so. We got to gas it, sorry, says Amelia. Now nicely taken by France, 40 metres out from the AB's line, looking to fire straight back. And the thing is, there's only 4 points difference between these two sides, so it's anyone's game still throughout the later stages of this contest. Now Antoine Dupont goes back into the pocket again to Jalabert. In fact, he tried to go through a gap. It's been taken out perhaps by Cody Taylor. They may have to go back and check that one, but Ramos now again looks for the 50-22 back there to cover. Is Will Jordan. You can tell it's him because his leg is pretty much completely strapped. Big boot from Will Jordan. That's probably why. Got to make sure that leg holds together for those big kicks. Jalabert returns fire, just going into touch, and Bowden Barrett decides against taking the quick throw. We have got there. Come on, France. You've got it in you. Says Jonesy and Hamish ABs have got this. I have faith in my team. Go ABs. Says Chizola. And who's the ref, says DJ? So it is Jaco Piper in charge of this one. His 2 assistant referees. It is Christoph Ridley and also the other fella, Carl Dixon, the other assistant. Now Aaron Smith passes off to Artie Savia. Low tackle made on him by the French fly half. Drop ball from Tupavai. And France look to attack straight away. Called it a lack of concentration, and now it becomes A perfect opportunity for France to fire back. Here comes Flamand. 5 metres out for the line. It's bounced back. France has still got a Dupont slap down by Mark Talia. That could be a yellow card. Or is it? They're just calling it as a knock-on against Mark Talia. Did he get 2 hands to that, or was it 1? Because if it's 1, he could find himself in a little bit of trouble here, Talia. Right, they've just called it as a knock-on for now. We're going to see it from a different angle, but Vai dropped the ball and put his side under immense pressure. Then from there, France looked to shift to Flamand with a good run straight up the middle. I think they are just going to have another look there. In fact, that might have been a knock-on the ground. In that case, we have got there. De Moonga missed the kick, says CK. He certainly did. In Zambia, Hamish says Chizola, where he is watching from. And looking forward to seeing Springboks and the All Blacks in the final again, says Babylon. And that knock-on prevented a certain try, says Us. And why is Tupavai in the team? Seriously, says Bowbite. Well, because Sam Kane got injured. So Vai was going to be coming off the bench, but instead had to start at 6 because they didn't pick Summer Penny Finau in the World Cup squad. Everyone was sweating before the game. It's bloody hot, says Gerard. Yeah, during the haka, the All Blacks were building up a sweat up, which is why I don't think these two sides will be able to match the pace that they did throughout that first 40. And the second half, that will be now scrum going down in a heap. Ethan de Groot yelling at the touch judge, trying to get the penalty. I don't think that's going to happen, though. And we have got there, don't diss Yako, he's doing fine, says Roberto. We have seen there 32% of France's game has actually come inside of the All Blacks 22 on this near side of the park. We have got there, I'm so nervous, I think I'm going to poop, says Megan Crow. Well, be strategic with where you are positioned in your house then. If that is the case, that try pass was way forward. Says life starts, and good evening, brother. All the best for the ABs watching all the way from Pretoria, South Africa. Says Maritz there. Now another scrum feed for France. 48 minutes through the game now. Another big opportunity. Jaco Piper yells out bind. I think that they'll try and get this one. That was way too much movement at scrum time. And I think France, they've got the free kick. Do they want to go for another scrum here? And hi, says Zach the Terminator. Welcome in, mate. The All Blacks, they will have to go down for another scrum. I think that Villiers is in a decent position to be able to score now. If they can get it out that back line, that is. South Africa for the Chats win, says Kershey. And also, great game. Teams are balanced. Oh, my voice. But try was forward, says Clinton. Yeah, it did look pretty close to forward. If not forward, yeah. And Darren has said, thank you for the great commentary. Thank you very much. Hugely appreciate it. I'm going to quickly drink some water while we have got some subs being made, or else my voice might completely disappear. Great game. Teams are balanced, but try was forward, says Clinton. And let's go France from Auckland, says Siddharth. And there as well, Parch, says JM. That is a good way of putting it, yeah. I think I just talk too much and I just, dry out the mouth. If I still have a voice at the end of this weekend, I'm going to be very happy. It might be a challenge, though. It's a fair game. I don't know who's going to win. Glug, 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 says Neris. But now the ball has come out the back. Antoine Dupont shut down early, finds the offload away to Damien Pinot, but the rush defence of New Zealand has forced them just that little bit further back. Now around the side, it will be Charles Olivon. The ball has gone loose. The All Blacks able to clean it up in the breakdown, although I think Dupont might have almost got his hands back on that one. Where is the ball? Yako's looking for it. It's like a game of hide and seek, and it's popped out on the side of Aaron Smith. Now Richie Mo'unga thought about the cross kick, goes for the run himself, trying to unleash some Mo'unga magic from inside of All Blacks territory. Rico Ioane now runs it straight at Flamand, a man who had a brilliant run in that gap. Why don't you drink beer instead of water? Tense game for you. Sears life starts. I think Yako's got in the way. And I think he's going to say play on. No, now they will go back for the scrum in favour of the All Blacks. And which doesn't matter where the ball ends up. Key is where the hands went backwards when he passed it. Says G rather than J. And get a whiskey in you up the wires, up the ABs. Told Jameis, says Chizola, drink lots of raw honey and your voice will be fine, honey. Says Jacqueline. Goes straight off Jaco Piper. That pass. I don't know know if the All Blacks would have wanted that scrum, because at scrum time they have actually conceded 2 penalties so far. And Tolfa Whanua has now made his way onto the field as well, I should mention. And thank you so much for the live broadcast. This reminded me back in the 70s, back in the Cook Islands, all games live broadcast on the radio. Let's go the ABs. Says Tangi. And yeah, all throughout the Rugby World Cup, we are going to be covering the game, so be sure to pop in every once in a while. The chat will be running throughout the World Cup as well, so, let me know your thoughts on the games as they take place, who you guys think will be winning the Rugby World Cup, and everything along those lines. We have got the ABs, or the score is ABs 13, France 9, says Roberto. It certainly is. Now Aaron Smith putting the ball in 22 metres out from the All Blacks line. Looking to use it to the right where Beauden Barrett was waiting. Gets a low pass to the shins, but does manage to clean it up. Although I think that little bit of extra pressure that Aaron Smith put on him meant that he did slightly mess up that kicking went out a bit earlier than anticipated. The rolling of the R. Oh, the R. It's easier to say it without R. It's weird, isn't it? When you just say R, it's very hard to roll it, but when you say it in like someone's name, it just rolls nicely. Now, line out for the French. Go the All Blacks listening from Mexico. Says Guillermo. Hopefully I've said that correctly. Are you going to win all the games of the Rugby World Cup? That is the plan. There may be the occasional game up against some slightly lower teams that we do miss just for the sake of being able to get some sleep in between matches, but we are doing probably, I would say, 95% of the games of this Rugby World Cup, and I can guarantee you we are not missing any of the big matches that are taking place, although some would say every match of the Rugby World Cup is, of course, a big one. Now, Pieter Malvaka has the ball at the back of the rolling maul here for France. Slowly starting to creep forward again. That has actually been somewhere that France have had a bit of an advantage as well, as getting that momentum moving at the rolling maul. Dupont now thought about going to the right, and he will now use it. Malvaka. In fact, it is going to be Mofana. Cross kick to Damien Penaud. The ball sits up for him. He's looking for the corner. Penaud, did he? Oh, no. Did he get it or did he not? I think Mo'unga might have made a last-ditch effort to just get the foot into touch. But Penaud, he looks like he's not sure. He just went, I don't know. Or he started, says Al Shaddai. I think Damien Penaud realised that Mo'unga was going to be covering, tried to go for a bit more of a leap, and that actually helped Mo'unga push him that little bit closer to the touchline. They haven't gone back to halfway line yet. They're saying, Damien Penaud, he might have dropped the ball and ate the grass, unfortunately. Yep, Mo'unga slapped it out of his hand. Damien Penaud got grass up his nose, and that's going to be no try. Just the slap of Mo'unga. That is brilliant defence from the fly half for the ABs. Cover defence. I'm watching the ABs from my Airbnb in Italy. Thanks so much for streaming, says Hannah. No worries at all. Hope you are enjoying Italy. It's probably quite warm over in Italy too, isn't it? And the heat wave. We have got their Wales, says amazing one. And now it looks like there are a couple more changes being made. Jean-Baptiste makes his way onto the field for Wardby, and then Aldieri making his way onto the field. That is going to be for Yui Antonio. Ate the grass, says PJ. And also we have got there Francis choking, says JM. I don't know about choking. I feel like Damien Penaud just underestimated how quickly that he was going to be able to try and get back across and cover Richie Mo'unga. But looks like De Groot and Lulala both making their way off the field. And that will be now for Fletcher Null as well as Ofa Tuangafasi. This game's awesome, says amazing one. And listening in from Colombia, says Kanu there, but New Zealand only a couple metres out from the line. Nice step from Artie Savia, tackled by Jean-Baptiste, who has just made his way onto the field with the most recent French substitutions. And dropped the ball and ate the grass. Good one, says AAPI. Now Aaron Smith puts the ball high. Not quite going to drift into touch, so nicely covered by Ramos at the back. Now with the nice slow tackle on him was Scott Barrett. But France have got so many options to this left-hand side if they can manage to get it out the back line. Probably about 10 different runners could have the ball. Jalibert goes off now to Pieter Malvaka, tackled low by Savia. Dupont decides instead to go to the right. Jalibert does well to reach out in front of him. Galficou now almost going through. But Scott Barrett again making a brilliant tackle. Penaud with the fend. wants to make sure he's trying to score it in the field a little bit further. That one's been put into touch, but France get themselves the penalty. I'm busy working and your commentary is getting me through my shift, says Amira. And thanks, Hamish, for doing the commentary. Well done, Hamish, says Moritz. Thank you very much, mate. And also, we have got there, should have made touch, says Mark. Yeah, that was a little bit of a mistake at kicking time once again from the ABs. I think that's about the third time that they have gone for the touchline and missed. But now this is interesting from France. It is as if the aggression level had just gone up to 11 because they have kicked from the corner, in which would have been a relatively easy 3 points. So that now means that they are looking for tries rather than going for those threes. Of course, 3 points would only put them to 12, but now Malvaka throws the ball and the All Blacks almost able to steal it, but it is bouncing back into the hands of Mofana, who is tackled by Dalton Papaliba. 5 metres out from the line, Dupont goes off to Flemont. Now, the chance could be just around the corner. Tackle low was Grus. Now Dupont goes to Jalabert. He goes himself, passes to Pinot. He had 1 metre between him and the touchline this time. No chance of dropping it, and Pinot strikes for France. The aggressive nature of going for the corner has paid dividends, and the French get themselves the lead back. And we're going to have to update our thingy down the bottom. We're going to have to go with France try scorers as well. France try scorers. Here we go. Pinot. Might be the right spelling. 49 minutes in though. And the French, Le Bleu, have fired back. This one's going down to the wire. Not firing on all cylinders, but winning the game, says Roberto. Although now they are not listening from Vanuatu, says Emil. And kia ora, guys, from a Cantab in York in England, says Andy Scott. And 1,000 thank yous from here in Texas for giving us this amazing commentary. And we have got plenty more coming for the Rugby World Cup, ladies and gentlemen. So if you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are only sitting about 500 subscribers away from the 30,000. So if you do want to help us out, it is hugely appreciated. Hit that subscribe button. We've got plenty more action just around the corner. And AB's looking like they're cracking under the pressure, says CK. And also Ramos is Eldon from the touchline now, though. Thomas Ramos. Line up the kick, and it is good. So that will now make the score 16 points to 13. This says 17, but it is incorrect. 16 points to 13 now. And we have also got there, come on ads, says Fred Matthews. And also we'll get the last 20 will tell, says Leonard Taylor. And also ABs are unpredictable, says JM there. Needs to be more excited when people, or need to be more excited when people get a try. I didn't know if they have scored or not, says Daniel Carter. Well, I do apologise, Dan. I will try my best to be more excited. New Zealand and South Africa, both teams took the World Cup. 3 tries. Who are the best? Although in that last case, I thought that saying that Damien Pinot scored the try may have given it away. Just saying. Missed conversions coming back to haunt the AB, says PJ. It's going to be kicked to behind. Will Jordan, oh, he's gone in low, and this time he will be penalised for it. He wasn't able to get the jump up, and he might even in a little bit more trouble there. He was saying he was going for the ball. He just didn't get the jump. The French side are looking to now. Oh, their chicken foul play. This could be Will Jordan going off the field for at least 10 minutes. We'll subscribe as long as you make all South Africa match coverage live for us in South Africa. I can guarantee I am doing that. We have got every game of South Africa coming up on the channel. And good commentary. France will scrape home, says Fanny. And also subscribe. Hit that like button on the way in, gents, says Sam. So he had eyes on the ball. Unfortunately for him, though, his job is to protect the player who is in the air. So I believe that Will Jordan may be going to the bin for 10 minutes here. Or it might just be a penalty. Yako's about to decide. Number 14, I believe Will Jordan's going to be going off the field for 10 minutes. Hamish, you are great, says Chisola. Thank you very much. He overruns it. Yellow card on report, Will Jordan now. That means that they have got 8 minutes to decide whether or not it is worthy of a red. I believe with the landing for Ramos, it means that they will only give it as a yellow. Do you take it as a red card or a yellow card? I think it's a yellow. If Ramos had landed more awkwardly, may have ended up being a red, but because he landed the way that he did, it is just going to be a yellow. And that's fair because Will Jordan was a bit clumsy there running into him like that, says Eldon. Yeah, he kind of, it was as if he didn't expect Ramos to jump, but like they've said, as a player, you have to protect the man who is already in the air. Lost it for a minute there, says Eric J. And the bin, really, says Dawson. And now it is going to be a French line out, and I see that Arthur Vincent has made his way out onto the field. I think that will be for Mofana in this case. And New Zealand are done, says Ed John. Replacement now forward, says Mark Alderton. Nicely claimed by the French. 14 men now on the field for the All Blacks. They will start to defend once more, and it's an advantage to France as the heat starting to get to the ABs. Dupont decided to go with the pick and go. That was what that word was supposed to be. But now they'll go back for another penalty. That should have been reviewed. It's just a yellow. Or that shouldn't be reviewed. It's just a yellow. Yeah, but they will go through the system that they have got just to make sure that it is all right. But I believe he will be back out onto the field after that kind of 10 minutes. It seems that France are starting to get their groove. They are doing pretty nicely here in the last kind of 5 to 10 minutes. Perhaps it could be some of those subs that they have made, those front row replacements of Jean-Baptiste Grou. Tito Malvaca, of course, he has been on the field a lot longer than he first anticipated. It's called a 22-17 for Le Bleu d'Hanoi, says Stan Paulson. And also we have got there, how is the sub kicker who is the sub kicker for New Zealand? I believe that if they were to take Richie Mo'unga off the field, they'd probably give it to Beauden Barrett, I guess. But I don't think they have intentions of taking Mo'unga off the field, seeing as they don't have Damien McKenzie coming off the bench. And neither of their teams look like making the final, says Norman. Although the beauty of a World Cup is you can look as rough as you like for the first 4 games. As long as you make it out of that group stage, quarterfinals, it's a whole different ballpark. There's all new pressure. There's all new challenges. So I wouldn't base what we're seeing here in terms of whether these two sides are going to make it far in the competition. Of course, we've got to remember they have been kind of equaling each other out quite nicely. Should have been a warning and a penalty, says Dawson, but that kick has missed from Thomas Ramos, so that will keep the score now sitting at 16 points to 13. Also going to be a water break now. Okay, the yellow card for the New Zealand player will remain as a yellow card. So Will Jordan, I'm sure that they will inform Adi Savia at some stage throughout this drinks break. If France score a try in the next 10 minutes, the ABs must forget this game, says Zolani, and Miss France says the night, and unlucky Ramos, I think his leg is a bit sore, says Eldon, and New Zealand says Benaya in the chat as well. But anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Like I mentioned, we've got plenty more Rugby World Cup action coming just around the corner, including, but not limited to, over this weekend. These are the matches that we have got coming up. Italy versus Namibia, that is the other game taking part in Pool A. Ireland versus Romania, Australia versus Georgia, as well as England versus Argentina. Those are 4 games back to back to back. We are hoping to cover at least 3 of those ones. And the question mark is Italy versus Namibia, mainly because we might still be asleep, but I think we will be up and ready to go for that game. Japan versus Chile, taking place at 11 p.m. South Africa, Scotland at 3:45 a.m. New Zealand time. And then Wales versus Fiji. Of course, depending on whereabouts you are in the world, these times are slightly differentiating depending on your given time zone. Loving the pronunciation, especially on the R's, says Simran there. And also Springboks knocked the All Blacks' confidence, says Sean. And what is the temperature in the game? They are sitting about 28 degrees Celsius, so it's hot. It's pretty warm out there on the field. And I believe that's why over the next maybe 10 or so minutes, we may start to see sides slightly dwindle off in terms of the pace. Have a drink of water, your voice drying out. Says Michael there. And this game is wide open. It is certainly. Right, he's calling up Adi Savia to tell him that that yellow will remain as a yellow card. Just hit him on the body. And I hope it's a France-South Africa quarter, to be honest. A little scared when it comes to the All Blacks. Very unpredictable, says Mark Steele. And also we have got their way as Tupovai selected. He's a passenger. He was selected due to injury. So yeah, that's why he's there. Hamish, it's great seeing your channel doing so well, says Eldon Emerald. Thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciate it. We have got a huge number of people here already. So anyone who is new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're here all throughout the Rugby World Cup with action coming all over the place. Beauden Barrett now finding the offload to Mark Talia, who has already been able to score himself 2 tries throughout this first opening World Cup game. Smith going short side to Mo'unga. Now Barrett breaks through one tackle, almost through, but no, finds the offload on the outside to Jacobson, who's at his ankles and his knees, taken out from underneath, and France losing their footing there. The All Blacks managed to just keep the ball now. Simisoni Taukiaho trying to break through the tackle attempt of Charles Olivon. Pick and go around the side by Adi Savia. Now off Tonga Fasi hit hard by Dupont. All Blacks just trying to put a few phases together now. Richie Mo'unga goes across to Rico Ioane. Other than that first run that we saw from Ioane, we have hardly seen that man. That is going to be a knock-on from the All Blacks. And Aldrit now has got the ball back for France. Now Dupont, wide cut-out pass. Ramos going across to Jalabert. Galfiku in the midfield. Has got men on the inside and the outside. He goes to Olivon, who almost managed to get through, but 40 metres out from the line. Now France once again have another attacking opportunity, although Dupont did not know what way to go there, so it did slow them down. New Zealand's defence is now set. I'm out of here. Casting live on my TV now. Good night, guys. Says Babylon. We will see you later on. Now Bowden Barrett inside of the 22. Puts the banana kick into touch. Manages to relieve some of that pressure. This is why I love the World Cup, says Chisola. Pirates of the Caribbean strong. We stand until the end, says Dan Silu. Hopefully I said that correctly. And stupid errors at critical times, says PJ. Yeah, that handling has been hurt in the ABs throughout the 60 minutes so far. France are looking a little bit more clinical throughout the second 40 minutes, though, and that will be a huge bonus for them throughout the last 20. Definitely if they can find that ball to Damien Penaud just that little bit more. It is now going to be Gregory Aldrit in the midfield. Adi Savia very close to getting that ball. The crowd are asking for a penalty of some sort. Now Malvaka goes off to Jalabert. Villiers, long way off his left wing, but now getting driven out. Or is he? No, he keeps the ball in the field of play. Mark Tilly, a brilliant pickup from him to keep the ball alive. The two number 11s getting their hands on it. Love your accent, says Nicholas Buckworth. Thank you very much, mate. It is a New Zealand accent. Some people think I'm Australian because when I talk a little bit quicker, I start to get that slight Aussie twang. Now, Mark Smith. That's not his name. His name's Aaron. Who's Mark? There's a few Marks around. Now it's kicked high from Aaron Smith. Oh, Mark Talia. That's where the mark came from. Now, Dupont looking for the ball. And the breakdown on the halfway line. Another big run forward for the French forwards. And that is where they've been making a few of the extra meters here, France. Just using those big forwards for the pick and go. Out on the full from Antoine Dupont. That is a rare mistake from that man keeping you cool in the heat. Make away my brew, says Bernard. And also thanks, bro. You're an awesome commentator, says Florian. Thank you very much. I'm from the United States of South Africa, says Trade Masters. And also we have got the New Zealand cheaters. You should be ashamed to cheer for your cheating try. This is not rugby, says Julian. We are also not the referee in that case. So, like, you know, I think there's going to be supporters that no matter what happens are still going to support their team. Whether they score a try that some people feel was a forward pass or not, they're still going to be like, yes, we scored. Like Mark Talia, it still goes down in his book as a try, doesn't it? We cover the Wallabies, bro. We certainly will be. They are having their first game up against Georgia at 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. New Zealand better win this game. I have a bet on them, says Mohammed. Now on the halfway line, Finley Christie recently replacing Aaron Smith. Knock on from Scott Barrett. Kick forward now from Gregory Aldrit. And the ball's still loose. Goes back on side for France. Now Dupont. They have numbers to the left here. Nice sling and pass out to Galfiku. Inside ball to Ramos. Now back to Dupont. Gets it off to Gavin Villiers. Ooh, almost a tip tackle from Finley Christie, but managed to drag his leg back down. And another penalty advantage to the French now. Dupont going to Jalabert. Short ball to Taufafanua. And they will go back for the penalty. A maintenance Lesgras or Gaz something from Thierry. Looks like the first upset opening match. France, the underdogs, will win, says Stavon there. Are you doing an Irish watch along? We are indeed. Ireland have got the game up against Romania, taking place at 1 a.m. and we will also be doing that game. And thanks for the updates, bro, all the way from South Africa, says Denver. And speaking of South Africa, we are also doing their game up against Scotland on the channel. So anyone who is new, hit that subscribe button. We are getting very close to that 30,000 subscribers. So if you do want to help us try and hit it by the end of this live stream, be sure to hit that subscribe button. These laws are confusing at times. But I'm getting the hang of it, says Chisola. Gosh, ABs have no idea, says Jason. And how far is the game time-wise? We are currently sitting 64 minutes through the game. Although that does say 66. Hi, Bernard. If you shout, I will hear you, says Milan. Ringing on Christie feels like admitting defeat for the All Blacks. And thanks for the update from the Solomon Islands in the Pacific, says David. Now France, once again, have got the opportunity to line up this 3 points. That will get them ahead by 6, which is still not quite out of the woods yet in this match. But with 15 minutes remaining, Julian, I think you're stuck on your same comment like 15 times. That's gone over from Thomas Ramos. It's going to be 19 points to 13. Good on you, mate. Bloody love your work, says Caitlin. Thank you. Do we stand a chance? There's still, I think with 15 minutes left, there's still a very good chance that this game gets that little bit closer. But now with it being 19 to 13, it means that the All Blacks will need a converted try to be able to get that little bit further ahead. The All Blacks will never take it, South Africa, says Andrew. A week of mourning come this week in New Zealand, says Ed John. And thanks, bro, says Albert. It's going to be kicked off short by Bowden Barrett. Goes to Scott, his brother, and I feel like that is something they've done on Christmas Day many times in the past in the backyard. Samasoni Taukiaho now, trying to charge forward for the ABs. They are currently 35 metres out short. Ball from Scott Barrett goes off to Luke Jacobson. And the big thing for the All Blacks is getting those forwards to the breakdown quick enough that France aren't able to get themselves the turnover. Now back to Richie Moong. A drop ball from Dalton Papali'i. The Butterfingers are starting to come out now for the All Blacks. And it's kicked in behind by France. Massive boot looking towards the 50-22. Picked up by Christie. And now slung back across to Bowden Barrett. We'll kick it into touch. It's not over, Rover. Says SG South Africa won't win the World Cup this time. Rassi is not coaching. Says Hansen, who kicked the goals for the ABs, bro. So it was Richie Moonga. I believe he's missed 2 so far. Forwards shut the fast ball, says Mark. And also we've got the 10 handling errors from New Zealand, says Powerbite. And unfortunately for them, that is a trend that has been happening quite a bit throughout recent weeks for the All Blacks. It did happen in their last game up against the South Africans also. That they were struggling to be able to hang on to that ball. We have got there how much time is left, says Megan. At the moment, we've got 14 minutes remaining in this fixture. Now Pieter Malwaka throws that ball in, nicely taken by Flimore at the front of the line out. France once again looking for this rolling ball. A couple times already we have seen them get themselves the penalty advantage from using this exact move. Now Dupont will put up the box kick. Villiers chasing after it hard. Looking to line this one up is Richie Moong. It's going to go back into the hands of Artie Savia, the captain. Needs a big performance over the last 15 to help the ABs in the right direction. Cross kick from David Havili goes out to David Havili, or in fact, sorry, goes out to Mark Talia, who is tackled by Damien Pinot over the ball there for France, and they get the turnover. And it is going to be the man at number 22, Arthur Vincent, the man who's pretty much the exact replica of Jonathan Dante in terms of the way that they play, has been able to get that turnover. We have got their lucky hairstyle, bro, says Dog. Although then he's got the laughing face, so I'm worried he's joking. But I did get a haircut recently because I looked like a mop a little bit earlier on in the week. Nicely run by Luke Jacobson. The All Blacks under all sorts of pressure, having to pass the ball backwards while facing backwards as well. Now, nicely taken by Damien Pinot. Looking to charge forward up the middle. He's knocked it on this time. Now Finley Christie takes it. Looks to go for the boot downfield. That was not the right choice. And now the knock on. The All Blacks will have themselves a scrum about 30 metres out from their line. And no, says Just. Looks like Ireland versus New Zealand and Scotland versus France in the quarterfinals. If it stays like this, says Brian. Why can't we in South Africa not see the game for free, says Gregory? It's a great question. I mentioned about it earlier on, although apparently SA something, SABC, I think it was, has got the game for free in South Africa. How much time left, says Tariq? At the moment, only 12 minutes remaining now on the clock. New Zealand still down by the 6 points. Not the prettiest game, says Roberto. Yeah, certainly a learning game for both of these sides in terms of what they need to improve on as they head throughout the rest of the Rugby Championship here, the Rugby World Cup. Here comes Brodie Retallick, though, on at number 19. He wasn't initially supposed to be in the Rugby World Cup squad up until about maybe 3 weeks, and then that was when we were going to start seeing him in action. Was it on channel 201? Are we going to get it in the bush, says Robert Williams. I'm not too sure which Supersport one it is on. I know that in New Zealand it's on channel 51, and SABC have selected games free, says Ian. And then ABs, I want 3 more tries, says Sakshire. I think even if they can get 1 more here, they'd be pretty happy. And come on, the All Blacks all the way from Cape Town, go man. And also everything is for free except for this, says Gregory. Now, going to be Finley Christie with the ball in hand. And that's gone down in the front row. I think that's somewhere that the All Blacks have been very shaky throughout the rest of this game. Is it scrum time? It's been very much so that they're under pressure and could easily end up giving away the penalty. They spend all the energy and focus on the haka. Now they're struggling against France. Says Master Ray, and also my favourite sports commentator and channel, says Simran. Thank you very much, Simran. Hugely appreciated. Of course, plenty more coming throughout this Rugby World Cup, although some of the games I will mention I won't be wearing the suit and tie. I feel like it's only for certain matches that will bring it out. I have to keep on ironing my shirts. AB's to break French hearts in the last 5 minutes, says Keith, and just one try, says Amara. And we're on the field, are they? So they're currently around 30 metres out from the All Blacks line. And they have got themselves the scrum feed. Finley Christie puts the ball in. Can the All Blacks, once again, huge pressure from the French fullback. Bowden Barrett going for the chip across field. Villiers back and is able to cover it. Will Jordan has to make the tackle on him. Now, Bowden Barrett, he enjoys the chip, but sometimes it doesn't work and just gives the possession away. Now, Dupont looking for the kick in behind, trying to get the 50-22. Now, Richie Moong is going to be back in his pace to charge just that little bit further forward. Great tackle made on him by Flamand. Now Havili, the crowd thought that was forward. Quick hands. Now Mark Talia out on the wing, receiving the pass from Orfa Tuangafasi, his Blues teammate. And now he has to try and get the clean out of Olive Vaughan. Just manages to do so. Brilliant work from the loose air prop replacement. Scott Barrett now 45 metres out from the All Blacks line. Back to Bowden Barrett. Goes for the chip behind. Richie Moonga was in front, but the ball goes straight to France anyway. Now the kick in behind. Jalibert goes straight to David Havili, who looks for the 50-22, but Jalibert is back again and will now take the mark with 10 minutes remaining. We have got there in the chat, you mate, ironing that collar must take ages. It's absolutely huge, isn't it? I don't know why, but it's so pointy. I said on another one that I thought that I looked like, is it Mickey or Minnie Mouse? One of them has like the big collar thing, and I feel like it's very similar to that. Good Portuguese vibes to the ABs. Says James, brilliant kick. Oh, or is it? Wait, Christoph's on crack. What's he doing there? He was trying to go back because France kicked inside of their 22 and it landed on the touchline. So pretty much what happened there is France took the mark, then they ended up kicking it way downfield. Christophe went, I'm going to take it back to where you kicked it from. Jaco went, what are you doing? He was inside of the 22, and Christophe went, oh yeah, and ran down the other end. How do you keep doing that, bro? Talking non-stop, says Dog. It's a great question, because at times the voice will end up disappearing throughout this Rugby World Cup. I can guarantee you tomorrow, with the fact that we've got 4 games back to back to back, the vocal cords are going to be struggling big time. Retallica's in. The French are doomed, says Roberto. But the big question is, have they left too little time to be able to make that big impact now? Nice run forward from Artie Savia. Moving to 22 metres out. They cannot kick this one out on the full. Now Jacobson, short ball to Brody Retallic. Takiaho goes with the pick and go off the back. We got a donation from Franz. Make yourself runners and Coke Hamish. Thanks for the spirited commentary. Thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciated for that donation. Oh no! Will Jordan. It's going to be another penalty advantage against him. He ended up getting tripped up, or he kind of ended up tripping over the French player. And this might end up being a red card for Will Jordan, seeing as he already had the yellow. Now Galfiku finding the offload. That'll be knocked on by Pito Malvaca. And Dominique says, you have a Bok jersey under the shirt, says Olani. Maybe. No, I don't actually have a Springboks kit, sadly. I feel like it's one that I'll have to add to the collection at some stage. Thanks for keeping us South Africans informed. Says Martin, no worries at all. And of course, we are going to be covering the game between South Africa and Scotland that is happening in 2 days' time. And we have got there. Thanks for the great commentary. I need a fun way to watch the game, says Tanya. And yeah, no matter what game it is, if we are doing the live stream, be sure to pop in, have a bit of a chat, talk about what you think of the game. At the moment, I think a lot of people are thinking that the French, as the underdogs at the start of this game, may be able to walk away with a victory. You definitely need a box jersey, says Tanya. Now, this time, France will take on the 3 points. This is strategic because this will put them outside of the buffer of 7 points. We have got there another innovation. They nicked from Rugby League, says Eric J. And box damage to AB, says P-Day. And also great commentary, Hamish. Good luck, ABs. Our best wishes from an Irish fan in Vancouver, Canada, says Courtney Hughes. Are you watching it Or are you watching a monitor? I am indeed. Yep. So I got this monitor where I watch the game, and I got this monitor that has the chat on it. It hurts listening to this, says Nella. You know, my voice, some people do find it annoying. 7 minutes remaining. Now, Thomas Ramos. He's normally pretty accurate. He's sitting 5 from 7 tonight, straight down the middle. The All Blacks are going to need a try and something to be able to take the lead here. It should have been a card. Says live starts, and also France when it's rigged. And also we've got their French girls give me the crepes. Says Neuris, and even if accidental it's dangerous, says Dr. Giz. And also we've got there, do you think it is time Tom Phillips turned himself? I don't know who that is. 23 points to 13 from Kenny Chan in there as well. Now France, although the All Blacks trying to get straight into that breakdown, they do need some sort of points extremely soon if they want to be able to walk away with this victory. By Antoine Dupont now looking to put this ball high. Good distance on it as well towards the touchline. Mo'unga just keeps it in the field of play, goes across to Bowden Barrett. I think the All Blacks, they're starting to have that realisation that they need to do something soon or else they will be in trouble. Good work from Thomas Ramos to once again kick that one down the middle of the field. Well controlled by Bowden Barrett with a bit of the football skills. Goes across now to Will Jordan. Man who's been quiet on attack at times throughout this Rugby World Cup opener. Christie going across now to Bowden Barrett. Good shot coming on in by Charles Olivon. Now Christie goes off to Dalton Papali'i. To the right, Will Jordan. Another good low tackle made on him by Jean-Baptiste Grue. Cody Taylor. In fact, it's going to be Dalton Papali'i. And the penalty goes for France. Off for Tuamafasi. In fact, it was Samasoni Taukei'aho leaving his feet. Now Pito Malvaka has taken the quick tap. So he is now 30 metres out from the line for the French. But over the ball, David Arveli tried to get the turnover. He had it for a second. But then the ball slipped out of his fingers. Taufifenua goes across to Jalabert. Looking for the kick in behind for Damien Pinot, who's running onto it nicely. Just doesn't quite. Oh, he has taken it, but it is a knock on first. The crowd think it's a try. The referee may have to go back and have a look at that one. Thanks so much for your commentary. Go Fiji, says Vinny. And also we have got there, and the chat as well, go well France, says Tanya. And only Tony Brown can win this game for the ABs, says Azza. And also, I'll actually come down to leadership, says Ding there. Wuta Kiwi is a dangerous animal, says Mike Owen. Oh, Pinot just half a tap, or did he not reach it? He may not have got his hand to that ball, which would then mean... Oh, see, it's an interesting one because the referee blew his whistle so early, which meant that they might argue that New Zealand stopped defending, although I think he was going to be through anyway with the way that the ball bounced. I think they might now check it. I was scared for this World Cup since we don't have Pollard and Lukaniwam, says Lutho there. And also we have got there, look at the haters, HIA, says the night. And also penalty France, and that's the game. Very happy for them, says Live Start, and Fiji wins this World Cup, says Floyd Kingy. Great game though. So many nice plays, says Dr. Giz. Yeah, it's been an entertaining opening fixture of this Rugby World Cup. 4.5 minutes remaining. In my guilt, I pledged to buy you that Bok jersey, says Nella there. And now Dupont making his way off the field. He's had a fantastic performance in the starting lineup. Gregory Aldrit looks like he's going to continue for a little bit longer. Should have played Roygaard, says Kerr. It could have been that X factor coming off the bench. Although I just feel like New Zealand overall in those first maybe 20 minutes of the second half just didn't really look like they were in it. And France, they have been able to take their opportunities very well. I'm sure in front of this home crowd there will be a lot of people celebrating tonight, that is for sure. Can you read this out, says Fred? Yes. It wasn't a knock-on, says Mark. They didn't actually show it from the other angle, but I think because of how early the referee blew the whistle, they weren't actually able to let it play on, if that makes sense. Now Finlay Christie passing across there to Rico Ioane. Charging forward. Now Finlay Christie again going back across. It's going to be high and into touch by Richie Moong. I never expected the French to be underdogs. They've always given us nothing but grief, says Dawson. And this will actually mean now the last 2 times that these sides have played, France have been able to beat the All Blacks. Ramos is going to have face on many items and TV promos tonight for sure, says Clip Drift Coke. And also it's all good. That's our first and only loss at the Rugby World Cup, says Nelly. And I believe that will be a history-making loss for the All Blacks, if I'm not wrong. Have they ever lost a game in a group stage of a Rugby World Cup? I think the answer is no. So France making history in quite a few departments, beating New Zealand twice in a row, as well as beating them in a Rugby World Cup pool stage. And France wins already, says Real DJ. Now they're rolling maul again here. Referee telling them to use it once, that being Jaco Piper. Luku goes across the hands of, I believe it was Galfiku again. And respect to France in the chat as well. Yeah, France have played a very good game of rugby here, and I feel like it can't be underestimated how well they have been able to play. Although they have still had mistakes, which makes it more intriguing to see how they do progress throughout this Rugby World Cup, because they will still feel like they didn't put it all out there on the field up against the All Blacks, but they've had a clinical performance at times that has led them towards this victory. Now Bowden Barrett running forward, once again knock on in the breakdown from the ABs. Luku now kicks it behind Damien Pinot, he pins his back, he likes his chances, jumps up, it's gonna be Jaminet, and he gets the try now for France. That puts the nail in the coffin, and the French have got themselves up to the 27 points now. Game over, says Kenny Chan. And they're in the All Blacks. Tell you what, France to win by 13 plus. I don't know what it was paying at the start of the game, but it's going to be one of those ones that anyone who backed it from the get-go will be very excited at the moment, because they would have made quite a nice amount of money. Is it the 7-1? Says Isaac Sabit. No, for this one, both sides. I think France went with the 5-3 and the All Blacks went with the 5-3 also. We have got their game set match. What am I seeing, or what I am seeing, looks like the boys are tired, I believe. There was too much kicking for touch, says Bob Money. Yeah, they've been looking for a relatively territory-based game, the All Blacks, and I think they've just been outplayed in that department. Game over, folks. Sorry for these, or for those who bet against the home side, says Roberto. And Superb Stuff France. And All Blacks is ordinary, but France is extraordinary. Or extraordinary, I should say. From JC. And like they've said, total domination in the second half, the All Blacks. They have only been able to get themselves that early try of Mark Dallaire in the second half. Pinot has scored. Jaminet has also got himself a try. And Jesus, it sounds like a handling has been terrible, says C-Fence. Yeah, the All Blacks have probably had about, I'd say, 10 handling errors. Alongside that, they've also given away 12 penalties. So that has hurt them a little bit as well. France have not lost on home soil since Scotland beat them at an empty Stade de France. Affected in the 2021. I think that one has missed for the French, but that will not play into the result of this contest. 27 points to 13. Only a little bit more time to go. Less than a minute. Smash that like, fellas, and subscribe, says Marco. Yeah, anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We've got plenty more Rugby World Cup coming just around the corner. So if you are new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 30,000 subscribers, and perhaps by the end of the weekend, we will be able to get there. And game over. France for the win, says Case Kiwi, and well played, France, says Roof. And also, we have got their busted flush New Zealand out in the quarterfinals, definitely, says Simon Jefferson. Foster for the bin. He's worse than Eddie, says Linton. Now, Samasoni Tokiaho throwing it in, the All Blacks. The thing is, they can still get themselves a losing bonus point here if they are able to score. Nice run forward from Leicester Fire. Now Nuku finds the offload away to David Harvili. And they find some sort of late points on the board here for the All Blacks. Topavai, in fact, it's going to be Hardy Savi. He decides he wants to have a crack at the try line before the end of the fixture. Still on his feet, but he's had the ball stripped from him. And that will be the end of the game, ladies and gentlemen. France get themselves the victory in the opener of the Rugby World Cup. 27 or 29. 27 points, I believe, but the scoreboard is wrong on the screen. 27 points to 13 in favour of Les Bleus, beating the All Blacks 2 times in a row, and for the first time in a Rugby World Cup group stage match. Greetings, Hamish and chat. Dropping by to give the stream a like, says Mountains of Asylum. It is hugely appreciated you being here, mate. And this has been a brilliant performance from the French from start to finish. They were right in the contest, taking their 3 points when needed. Thanks, great commentary. Hit the like button, says Miriam's there. And also, we had quite a bad start for the All Blacks. They now have to win every other game in the pool, says Zolani. And that will include their game up against the Italians. No excuses, France outplayed us today, but you never write off the All Blacks. The rest will be a different story. And well done, France from New Zealand, says all good. And thank you, says Kirshen. And also we have got there, Release the Haters, great game France, says Nero there with the donation as well. Thank you very much, mate, for your support throughout this live stream with those donations. And yeah, it's been awesome to have so many people tuning in for this opening game of the contest. Great commentary, Hamish. Thank you, says Timid. No worries at all. And also great game, awesome commentary, says Ski. Congratulations, France, says Albert. Yeah, they have had quite the day in France, that is for sure, because they are just showing in the crowd how much it means to the people in attendance. They have got themselves a massive win. They will sit top of the pool. I don't know whether or not they get the bonus point. I think because of the amount of tries scored, I don't think they do, unfortunately for them. I can hear the chants outside from our house in Chinon in France, says Michael. And also well done for the constant commentary in the chat as well. And also what a match, great opening, says Al. And I think it was exactly what people wanted. A close game for a start. The end score not so close with a 14 points difference. But at the start of the game and at halftime as well, with it only being 9 points to 8, it just had that real feel like we were going to be going down to the wire and there was going to be so much intensity and excitement throughout that second 40 minutes. And I have to say, France in that second half just turned it up to 11. They decided to start going for the corner. That is where that try of Damien Pinot came from. Thank you for your time, buddy, says Mark Alderton. And also we have their great commentary. Thanks from South Africa in the chat as well. It was this game was a dog's breakfast. Who will want this, says Miguel. I think a lot of people enjoyed that game. Overall, the performance from the All Blacks was lackluster. I know a lot of people would say that, but I feel like everyone wanted that real test match feel for the opening game rather than one side being able to dominate throughout the first 40. And yeah, the heat didn't really slow these games down hugely, or the players down hugely, which was quite impressive. With the form of France, no shock really, says James Metzger. Hopefully I've said that correctly. And second half was good, says Honey. And maybe now Foster will take things seriously, says Glenn Woods. And also we have got there again. I'd like to ask, your peak live audience was 5,500. Is that your biggest? I believe so. I believe that is a record on the channel. So it is all down to you guys tuning in, and it is hugely appreciated. We've got plenty more Rugby World Cup coming just around the corner. And the first of which, I hope, is going to be the game later on tonight between Italy and Namibia. Now, the plan is to cover that game. Out of all of the games back to back to back, that would be the one that we would end up missing if for any reason we did need to, whether that is the voice or whether that is due to sleeping. But Ireland, Romania, we are covering. Australia, Georgia, we're covering. And England versus Argentina, we are covering on the channel. Also, then for the Sunday, Japan versus Chile, South Africa versus Scotland, and Fiji versus Wales are the three games that we will get to see, and they are going to be very exciting. Also, for anyone wondering about where this leaves France and New Zealand from this moment, this is what the information that we got. Next week, France are going to be playing Uruguay. That is on Friday morning, New Zealand time. New Zealand have got Namibia, where they, of course, will want to fire back the better performance from this one. Samoa versus Chile on the Sunday morning. Wales, Portugal, and Ireland versus Tonga. And then on the Monday, it is going to be South Africa, Romania, Fiji versus Australia, and England versus Japan. So that is next week. But first, of course, this week, these are the games that we have got. But in the chat, we have got a lot of people commenting. So I do apologise if I miss a few messages along the way. We have got there in the chat, go Tonga, says Charles. And also great commentary, Yester, says Peter. Thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciated. Viva les Bleus. And thank you, lads, says SJ, or SG. And there, what are you going to wear for the Aussie game tomorrow? I'll probably end up not wearing the suit for tomorrow night, just because I'll wear a little bit more of a casual attire. But then perhaps the day after that, we will put the suit back on. What a bad game from the ABs. Disaster second half, honestly, says CH. Yeah, in the first half, they didn't look too bad at times, but just that first maybe 20 minutes of the second half, they just weren't able to get themselves into the contest the way that they would have liked to. And also, Buck fan rooting for the ABs, our only worthy opponent, says Charlene. I'm proud of my team. We were unlucky. Well done, France. Back to the drawing board for us, says Yazin. What was the score? The score was, there we go, 27 points to 13. I put on the suit for the All Blacks funeral, says Sonny de Villiers, and good luck with your schedule for the World Cup. Hamish, love your commentary, says Mountains of Asylum. And also, we have got there watching from Jamaica. But you are South African, says Ian. And there, so we have ticked off quite a few countries all around the world for these live streams, which has been absolutely awesome throughout the World Cup. I'm sure we're going to get a whole heap of people from different countries around the world as well. And no team has won a World Cup having lost a pool game. Didn't South Africa lose to the All Blacks in 2019 and then go on to win the competition? Or am I wrong in saying that? No team has won a World Cup without having lost a... Oh, sorry. No, I read that wrong. My apologies, Richard. So, yeah. No side has won... Wait. But haven't the All Blacks won without... I don't know. Incorrect, says Simon. And also, Shop Bro, keep it coming, says Fred. And also, we have got there listening in the Taiwan Strait. Says Scott there and All Blacks need to kick less and go up to the guys more. Says Octodad, yeah, I think they were definitely kicking a lot more than they would have liked to, and I think that was playing straight into France's hands. They wanted them to kick the ball back because overall they managed to do pretty decently in terms of that kicking game, France. I really enjoyed your comment. By the way, your collar is just too long. I know. This shirt really annoys me. We mentioned it earlier on. It goes down to like my belly button, it feels like, with the length of it. Definitely on the camera, it just looks worse, I think. You look like a beetle in your suit. Go France, says Stephen. And also South Africa never lose to New Zealand, says Obi. And also we've got that South Africa lost to the ABs in the first game of the group stages, says Justin. To France win, says Charlene. They certainly did. Got themselves to win 27 points to 13. So a home victory for the home side, and they will certainly be looking forward to the rest of this Rugby World Cup. But I do thank you all very much for tuning into the channel. If you did enjoy this live stream, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We were on the road to 30,000 subscribers. I'm just going to have a quick look now. I believe we'll only be about 300 or 400 away now. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Yeah, we're only 280 away. So yeah, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We've got plenty more Rugby World Cup action coming later on today, so be sure to check that out. We've got 4 matches that we are planning to be able to take part in. But thank you all very much for being here. Hugely appreciated, and I will see you all for the next one.